Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 319.
We're here with our live studio audience. Mahmoud
Yes.
Barani is behind the curtain here. As always, the man behind the curtain.
Yes. I don't know. Is he just squatting here officially at this point? I feel like he's been here too many weeks.
The paperwork hasn't officially gone through. We haven't quite adopted him yet, but we're working on it, and we're hoping to just give him a good home, just for the last few years of his life, and just let him.
Or you could look at it as most people from Illinois, they always have like a Wisconsin, summer home. I don't know how we became his summer retreat, but either way, Mo is here working on stuff for the show for the next couple of days, of course, as we're going to be getting into the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships and Tour finale here this upcoming weekend. Big weekend, of course. We just had the Women's National Championships and the United States Disc Golf Championships, and we're not even gonna BS or talk about any other nonsense.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
We really like to BS.
I know, but more importantly, we can bring in the man of the weekend, none other than our newly crowned United States Disc Golf Champion, Chris Dickerson.
Woo!
Yeah. Hey, buddy,
Thank
how
you.
you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
We're good. And just so you know, I know you've been here a couple of times, of course, but our podcast, we like to keep it under 5 hours. So we're going to keep you to some limited conversation here tonight, all right? We need you to just, tone it down a little.
Okay, I'll try and give as many one-word answers as I can.
Okay, good.
Is it true that someone maybe specifically directed you to not give one-word answers during one of the interviews this past weekend?
Was there a little
Yep.
prepping?
A little bit of prepping. You're a man of few words. They're very meaningful when you do use them. But yes, it helps out. A little media tip here. It always does help out our interviewers if you just give them a little bit to work with sometimes.
Well, let's start there. In all seriousness, you don't typically say a lot when you're propositioned to have conversations, at least to the general public. Are you more talkative in your closer circle of friends and family? Do you find yourself as more talkative, or do you just not talk a lot?
For the most part, I don't talk a lot. Growing up, my parents and my other family, they would always say, you know what, you need to talk more. You need to socialize more. And I'm like, nah, don't really need to. But around my friends and stuff like that, yeah, of course. We, for example, like Calvin, Zach, Eric, we play rounds together and we talk trash nonstop for 18 holes. So, yeah, there's quite a bit of talking done there.
Other than disc golf, what do you think you like to talk about the most? Is it movies, music, pop culture, art? I don't know, books? Like, what really, other than disc golf, kind of really gets you going? I mean, different types of chicken. I don't know.
Let's see. I know talking about cars, just like the ins and out of cars. I've always been into that kind of thing. And what you said outside of disc golf, I was going to say like disc design and flight characteristics and stuff like that. But that is part of disc golf. So we'll stick with automotive, stuff like that.
What kind of car guy are you? I mean, are you like a hot rod guy? Are you a muscle car? Are you more of a modern, I don't even know what modern cars, fast cars are these days.
How many Teslas are you going to buy this week?
NASCAR, Indy racing. What type of car guy are you?
More into muscle cars. Yeah. When I was in high school, my mama started a bank account for me. She said I could take whatever money she'd put in there whenever I turned 18. And once I did, I think there was a little over $2,000 in there, and I bought my first car with that money, and it was a '94 Mustang.
Okay. Very. I I'm not familiar with a lot of cars, but that was right around when Johnny and I were in high school, so very familiar with that style of car as we graduated in '96. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, I'm dying to know, do you have a lot of other car people to talk to within disc golf? Because
Colton, maybe.
Yeah, I can think of a couple, but not many. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. Is there other people you get to share your passion with?
Not very many. The only one I can think of right off the top of my head is Zach Johnson. Besides that, not many that I know of.
And Zach, now I do know that Zach is a huge Jeep guy specifically, right? Like he's diehard Jeep. I see him like doing other things with other cars, but Jeeps are where it's at, and he's out climbing rocks and tipping them over and stuff. Is that what you do with him?
I'm not sure. I'm not one of those Jeep guys, but I think so.
All right. So let's get into the meat of this weekend. Now that we've got all of our car stuff out.
You're not getting the car stuff anywhere else.
No,
you're not hearing it on Ultra World. You're not hearing it on PDGA. This is where you come.
Yes. Now, this weekend, obviously, congratulations, incredible weekend. How do you feel now? Almost a full 3 days. You're crowned Saturday night. Here it is Tuesday night. How does it feel?
You know, it's starting to sink in. It's a great feeling, and I was practicing Hornet's Nest earlier today and yesterday, and a few people they yelled over like from hole to hole, and they're like, "Hey, congrats, champ," or "What's up, champ?" Something like that. And just hearing that and realizing that, you know, I actually won the U.S. championship is just, it's a great feeling. I don't know. A lot of people say that Worlds is the best tournament of the year. I think USDGC is. So in my mind, that's the best feeling you could have in disc golf.
Well, and to be fair, you might be saying that about Worlds if you would have won Worlds. Yeah, I'm totally kidding. No, it's and then not having a Worlds, of course, I think does make things even a little bit more special. That the one big event we have, this enormous event that we have, that you are able to take down that specific title. Here's what I'll challenge you a little bit with, though, is you're one of the more or most winning MPO players we currently have out there because you've won so many events. Is it feel that much different? Because you could be called champ for literally over 100 other events, but now it's like you're the champ of this event, and that just supersedes everything?
Yeah, I think it does, just because, you know, whenever people talk about, whenever they say, you know, the champ, the majority of people know who they're talking about. They're talking about King Climo. So I think that comes from this event. So I think it does supersede everything else.
I'm sure it's never going to get old. Now think about the class, if you could, of the other winners. I think we counted you're the 12th different person in the 22 years. Reflect a little on some of those people, and I know you've said you've played with some of them and others you haven't, but just kind of reflect for us a little bit, or give us some insight into some of those other people you hold this prestigious title with.
Last year, James Conrad, Paul Macbeth, Big Germ, Steve Brinster, Feldberg, Plamo, Barry Schultz, and I know I'm forgetting
Nico, Doss, Sexton.
Yep, Nico, Doss,
and Schustrick.
Sexton, Schustrick, and I think Ron Russell.
Nope.
No?
Rustler did not get this
never
one.
Took this one down.
Giving me bad information.
The Rustler's the 1999 world champ with PDGA number 9999, ending Climo's streak at 9 consecutive worlds, but he was not a USDGC champion.
That's fine.
Brittany.
Yeah. I was naming off some names, and I kept hearing Ron Russell, Ron Russell.
Oh, you need a new publicist. So that class, those people, though, truly, every one of them, and obviously a Conrad's, I'll say, probably the freshest face out of all of those, and obviously a distinguished, great champion. But even with him included, though, you're talking about like such a special class of golfers
that's the elite of the elite.
Yeah. Now you just need your ring.
Next year.
Yeah. I got to wait a whole year.
You seem like a ring, like bling bling kind of guy, right? What? No.
Nope. At the first Pro Tour, not the first, but the first one I won in Jacksonville, inside of the top of the trophy, there was a little case, and I opened it, and it's a Disc Golf Pro Tour ring. Never worn it.
I remember to put it out there, Paragon and Miles and Steve Dodge so proud of that ring, and I remember, where do you have it?
Like
where is it?
Was it like the first year they did that jacket, that like bright, that silver jacket,
spaceman jacket,
and then they went to a ring, and we've seen a lot of fun.
So where did you get a ring the second year that you won as well, last year, or no? No, okay.
Nope.
So you're just gonna start a collection of rings. Okay. So, the group of people you're within, and dare I ask, do you feel any I don't want you to say resemblance, but any similarities? Anything when you think about those guys, and then you think about inserting yourself among those names? What to you? Obviously, besides the win, but what to you kind of draws you guys into that same class? Is there anything you could think of?
Ooh, it's a really tough question, actually.
Thanks. I just thought of that.
I would have to say the desire to win is something that I could see in all of those people.
So let's reflect for a moment. Will Schusterich is the third most winning USDGC champion, taking it down 3 times, and he's a teammate. He's someone that you've, I think, had some battles with, especially in the early stages, more so. What were can you share anything that was shared between the two of you guys at any point, either during the week or right after you won?
I think he was the first person to text me after I'd won, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but I think it was something along the lines of, "Dickie, you did it. Welcome to the club." Something like that.
I mean, maybe, and I don't need the specifics, but can I hope or assume there's a Prodigy bonus with a major title?
Yeah, there's a bonus.
Sweet.
And maybe a disc as well? Are we going to see a USDGC Chris Dickerson or something? No?
I'm sure you will.
All right. I assumed as much with that type of win, especially being, again, as we said, the only major of the year. No, normally, and some of the other manufacturers, it's usually a world's win that gets you like your name on a disc. But with this year, all the eyes were on this event, and it only makes sense that there's even more weight put on this particular event. So I'm really excited to eventually hear what kind of disc is going to be coming out.
I mean, come on, let's be fair. Nico threw one good shot last year, and they came up with a special disc for it. So I mean, so this is kind of a quick sidetrack to that. Interesting, I'm going to say, and you can agree or disagree. Philo taking the week to go do commentary as opposed to playing and being a viable competitor at the event. Commentary, media, any of that in your future anytime?
I doubt commentary is, just because of the lack of words. However, you never know. Anything can happen.
Could you, if you and Vinny exclusively
that would be
did a commentary track, would there be a competition who could say the least between the two of you for the shot by shot?
There could be a competition. However, I think if me and Vinny did do that, I think it would be more just trash talking the whole time and not necessarily even talking about the people playing. We'd probably go off on some kind of tangent that we don't agree on.
I honestly I swear up and down, whoever has the footage, whether it's CCDG or Fulcrum, I would love a final round commentary with you and Vinny, just because of how close you are, your each individual styles, and then the competition that went back and forth in that final round. Nothing would make me happier than hear you talk smack about when Vinny's disc rolls in the water on 18. I mean, just to needle him a little bit. I mean,
oh man.
So what were the conversations, whether it was with him or anyone else? I'd assume him specifically, but discussing what happened during his round and how the last 2 holes or hole 17 played out. When did you guys have that conversation?
We haven't.
You have? Uh-oh. This is awkward. Really?
Huh?
No.
Is he ghosting you right now, or are you guys not? Are you?
No, we played a practice round earlier today. No, we're okay. But so I had heard what happened on 17. At first, I just heard the number. I didn't really hear what happened, and then I think it was Germ that explained what happened, but I still haven't seen what happened.
Yeah,
I don't have highlights because it wasn't our footage. We just kind of watched it. Otherwise, I would pull it up for you. It was the most heartbreaking thing I've seen in years in disc golf in general. Just and no one wants to see somebody go down that way. I mean, you want to see an awesome competition with Vinny pushing you and you getting the better of him at the end or something like that. But that's what that course does. I mean, that's what that hole does specifically even. And it's a difficult course to win at and under some really crazy conditions, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Hole 17 is all about the hay bales. Just stopping your disc from coming in. It's all about the disc slipping into the water because you skipped and you came in just 2% too much power. Hole 17, the last thing you're thinking is hitting the side of the basket and then it rolling OB and then having to re-putt from where you just were. I just feel like, I agree, hole 17 is diabolical. We all know that. But that's not how you draw up 17. You miss the green 2 or 3 times. You clip the tree. You slide OB. A roll after that putt is like, that's just not how you would ever predict it. But that speaks to the event.
So about that final round, speaking of hole 17, was there ever any thought for you to lay that up? I mean, you're going into that with 2 strokes, I believe.
Yes. Yep. 2 strokes.
Yeah. Was it ever in the plan to just pitch it up and take your 4 as opposed to try to, because we've seen that hole break people.
Right. I didn't really think about it, but if I would have thought about it during the round, I still don't think I would have laid up, just because I noticed earlier in the week they pulled that landing area in about maybe even 20 feet. So it's really small, and to be, I don't know, you're only pitching a shot 30 to 40 feet off the tee pad. So your next shot has to carry, I don't know how far the hole is, 250 feet or so. So right around 200 feet into the skinniest part of the green to have a putt for par. I would just rather be on the island after the first. That way it makes the
A lot
second
of
and
people
third
would.
a lot easier. Right. It's easier
I love that
said
game
than
plan.
done, that's for sure.
We saw it crush a lot of people's hopes and dreams this week.
So you weren't necessarily thinking about pitching up, but how nervous were you? And then if you were nervous at all, what did you do to calm yourself to get prepped to throw truly what many would say is the most pivotal, tee shot on that course during this tournament?
Right. Yeah, I was very nervous. I stepped up to the shot, and the only thing I was thinking was, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be close to the basket. It just needs to be on the green. And, for that hole in general, it doesn't matter which pin position it's in. I try and throw a sidearm to the fattest part of the green over on the right. So I don't care how far right I am. I've hit the hay bales on the far right before. But no, just being on the green was somewhat of a relief.
And then, before we get move off of hole 17 and talk about 18, I will ask, do you like the rule that once you're on the green and then you go OB anywhere, you have to re-putt or rethrow from where you were? So like Calvin, had to re-putt. I think of earlier in the week, Heather Young went off the band, just a few feet past the basket, over the hay bale, and she had to putt from the exact same spot. Do you like that rule on that hole?
No, just because, the basket is within 10 feet of the hay bales in both positions. So there are a couple of more islands. There's at least one more island on that course where you've had to come to rest on the island. And once you've established your position on the island, if you went out of bounds, you played it as normal OB. So I don't really see why that theme would change from hole to hole.
Yeah, I've always said I feel like every time our players get to that event, you have to go to school for a full day reading that caddy book to try and understand so many variations of the rules. And to be fair, one year you play it one way, and the next year that same hole you may play the exact opposite of how you played it the year before. And maybe that's all part of the psychology of the course.
Maybe I just like like Chris saying, I just like that particular rule because it does. If you bail out way to the right, so to speak, if you're on the tee pad, if you're not reputting, it gives you a chance to run at it for 3. Like I feel like they're saying, oh, if you bail out to the right, we're
still going to punish you.
We're going to punish you. At least you could run at it for 2, and if you go B, you're going to take a 4, as opposed to I'm just not a big fan of that particular rule on that particular hole.
So you get through hole 18, and at that point, do you know exactly where you are relative to Kelvin?
You mean through 17?
17, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah,
you know exactly where you are on the tee, and who are you having that conversation with?
With myself. No, we weren't allowed to have caddies or friends or family or anything like that at the event, so there wasn't anybody to talk to about it. Brittany's there taking pictures, but I'm not going to walk over and, talk to her as if she was a caddy, because that wouldn't be fair to anyone else.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, after you.
I was just going to say, I'll get to Brittany in a moment, but
Okay.
I guess I meant, like, did you and the group, because it's been weird this year. Some events have had leaderboards, some haven't, where there's a big physical board out there, and some players have been able to look at that, and depending on the situation. And then I guess I really meant, did you have any conversation with anyone else on your card as to where the scores were and if other people were paying any attention to you versus anyone else? I guess that was really where I was directing that one at.
I got you. No, not really. Yeah, like you said, there wasn't a scoreboard there. I think the only thing that was said on our card once we finished 17 and 18, I went to tee off, and as I was walking to the tee, I just turned around and said like, "Hey, good playing with you all." That was the most conversation we had after 17 and going into 18.
Wow, I got to wonder if the rest of the card was tense because they knew what was on the line. Not so much for them as much, obviously, as it was for you.
And maybe this is hard to answer. Do you feel like at that point the card was rooting for you? Like, was there that type of camaraderie, knowing that they were out of it, that you had the lead, either going into 17 or 18? Was there any talk? Is there any group camaraderie, I almost want to feel, or was it still like, hey, this is every man for themselves?
I would like to think there was some kind of camaraderie, but it was a weird situation. And I mean, that it would always be a weird situation because you don't know whether the person you're talking to is the kind of person that would take it as like, hey, you're doing great, keep it up, keep going, or if they're the kind of person that's like, hey, don't talk to me. Mm-hmm. So
I know it's hard to tell, and you play with these same guys like week after week after week, and I didn't know if there was any sort of push for that at all.
Nothing was said to any extent like that, but after my third shot, Kyle Klein came up to me and said, "Hey, you know what? Great job, good win." And I even said something like, "Hey, it's not over yet," because I still had like 35 to 40 feet to go, and I can't tell you how many times I've thrown a disc 35 to 40 feet to lay up and it's done something weird. So I was still as focused as I could have been just on that layup.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I feel like you know, you're not quite playing every weekend yet with Kyle Klein. You're not playing every single weekend with some of these guys versus if it were, we'll say, a Melton on your card and maybe even Vinny or whomever. I just feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like then it would have been more, we'll say, obvious as to what it was like. And even if they had good intentions, maybe they didn't fully know how to react because they're not playing with you quite every weekend.
Right. I think you are right.
So, 18, you know where you're at, you know the positioning. You said you're nervous. We saw some people take their putter, put it upside down, kind of slide it on the wood chips. Were some of these scenarios playing out in your head as you got closer to the pin? Like, okay, here's what I have to do next. Here's what I got to do next. Are you playing all of those individual scenarios out in your head?
Yeah, for specifically the last shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So earlier in the week, I was in a similar position and I turned the putter upside down, tossed it 20 feet short or so and just let it slide up. But so that went through my head to do that again because upside down, the disc is less likely to roll. But where the ground was so wet, I didn't know how much it would really slide and if it would stop once it got to the basket. So I don't know. I felt like throwing the disc with a little bit of Anheuser and trying to land it as flat as I could was the best option.
What a relief when it sat. Is that what you're thinking? It's like, I've got that putt all day.
Yeah. Yes. I wanted, from that distance, I wanted a putt where I could just place it in the basket. A putt that didn't have to leave my hand until it was already down inside the cage.
Awesome. It was, I always, I'll skip that.
Real quick, I want to talk just briefly about the conditions of that round. Is that the worst weather you've ever had to play through?
No. I played a tournament that was 27 holes, and the rain wasn't quite as hard, but it was close, but it was constant for 27 holes. Oh. So it was about 5 hours, maybe a little bit more, just constant heavy rain. But no, besides that, that's probably the worst weather I've played in.
Were you expecting at some point, either expecting and or wishing at some point that they'd blow the horn and that you would at least just come in and take some kind of a break?
Yeah, I think it was on hole 6. We just finished hole 6. I changed my game plan to just throw a putter off the tee, throw a putter up, and try and take it 3. But I didn't throw a very good up shot, missed the putt, and took a 4. So sitting under the tent, and I will say this, if it weren't for those tents, we all would have been in a lot more trouble than we were already in, because, you know, umbrellas can only do so much. Those tents were really a lifesaver. And so sitting under that tent on 7, I was thinking, you know, this rain is really hard. The wind's picking up. I wouldn't be surprised if they at least gave us a break.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that never happened. So
yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting to see some sort of break at that point, just because from what we could see on the monitors and on the TV, it was just constant. And then they showed, I don't know if you've even seen it yet, I believe it was hole 10's tee pad that was just gone. Like, you couldn't see it. It was covered in water and mud, and the cameramen were showing them, like, basically sweeping the water and the mud off of it. And, like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes later, they show the tee again, and it looks perfect. I can't give a bigger praise to the grounds crew there for that particular shot, because all I kept thinking is, like, you can't play on that tee. There is no way. You have to, if they get to this hole and it looks like this, you almost have to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But they were able to miraculously pull that off and do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, so I had heard that hole 10's tee was underwater, and by the time we got there, like you said, it was perfectly fine. What they had done, they dug a little ditch from the back corner of the tee to, I think it was the sidewalk, and it just drained all the water out.
Yeah, well, so maybe you'll be happy to hear that while we were up at the media section or area near 18 and it starts to rain and it's getting heavier and heavier, Jeff Spring is yelling, like, are they going to close it down? What's going on? Like, he was just thinking, like, everything was going to at least get postponed. So he was rooting for that to some degree because it just kept getting heavier and heavier, and we were all wondering, and we've all played tournaments, and you think, like, okay, yeah, when is the right time to call it? Like, we play in rain, and we play in high winds. Is it really dangerous, or we keep playing it? And there's not lightning, right? Yeah,
we saw the USDGC a couple of years ago get canceled because of the high winds. They were afraid of branches breaking and falling, but it didn't. It just looked like this just looked like extremely heavy rain and not a lot of wind. There was some, don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel. It didn't look like it was crazy wind.
The show must go on, and Chris has things to do out there.
Yeah, I think. In danger? No, we weren't ever really in danger, but the quality of play definitely suffered because of that, except for Calvin.
I was going to say, are you sure? Not everybody.
Great. Yeah, outside of Calvin, I think the quality of play suffered.
Yeah, you can tell by all the scores. I mean,
yeah.
the scoring average is way up on that course, other than Calvin, who just, I don't know if the rain avoided him or if he's too tall, he throws over the rain. I don't understand what he
has different weather patterns. Being the
higher up you go, he's a crazy kid.
So let me ask you this then. Last question about the weather for now is: were you physically prepared? Because it sounded like some people were out there with just not the right gear or equipment. Were you ready to go? Do you have considering what happened, did you have what you needed as best as you could?
For the most part. So when people ask me, how do I prepare for rain rounds? I mean, the obvious answer is stay as dry as possible. And there are some ways that you can do that better than others. For me, I carry it's basically a bath towel. It's a very big towel. So instead of having these 2, 3, 4 little ones, I have one big one. And whenever it's calling for rain, like what we were going to get, I take a second towel. And I put it in the bag, and I actually wrap it up in a plastic bag so it doesn't get wet before I need to use it. And I was thinking before the round, maybe I should put a third towel in here somewhere, but nah, it'll be okay. On the tee of hole 9, I was having such a hard time getting this disc dry. I was still on my first towel, but I was kind of being stubborn, not wanting to jump to the second towel and completely get it ruined. I would dry it off the best I could, and then whenever I would get the disc, I would feel it, and my hand would still slip. So I would take my hand and just rub it on the disc until it started making a squeaking noise. And then, that's when the disc is dry. It was tough conditions, and, I barely prepared enough for it.
Well, it seems like it was enough when it was all said and done. At least one stroke enough, and whether you win by 1 or 20, it doesn't matter to you.
No one cares in the future,
point,
that's
right?
For sure.
So I do want to backtrack just for a moment, and only because, and it's not wildly. I guess we could just put it to bed is a better way to put it. There was a conversation, which I think you're now well aware of. There was a conversation about the fact that Brittany was there, and some people had wondered or were concerned that if you had any distinct advantage because, like you said, friends and family and caddies weren't allowed, but yet your wife was out on the course. And then obviously some people, got very clear about, well, she was hired by Prodigy as an official media photographer, as she's done quite a bit this year. Is there anything else that needs to be said about that? Is there anything you guys want to address? And I hope you guys didn't take it to anything too personal, because, is there anything you guys want to address on it? I know you're aware of it, right?
I found out actually about that post after the third round. So,
Yep.
I didn't realize it was that early. I thought it happened after.
No.
Oh wow.
No. Nope. It had been on for a little bit, even after I had found it. So. I kind of had that on my mind the morning of the last round. And, I don't know. It's something you shouldn't have on your mind going into any tournament, especially that one. But so basically what Brittany was doing at the USDGC, we reached out and asked the tournament staff, hey, Prodigy wants someone there to do photography and stuff like that. Is there any way that we can do that? And they said they were worried about the number of people on site, but they would know something better in the next few days. They reached back out to us and say, hey, if you could work the front gate, checking people in, checking their temperatures from 7 till 10 in the morning, then you're free to do media if you would like. So she got to the course early every morning, checked people in, checked their temperatures. After that, she went straight to the course and was taking pictures of not just me, but all Prodigy team members. The women were on the course early. She took pictures of Heather, Katrina. I think those were the only 2 women competing as far as Prodigy. And then, when the men started, she took pictures of Alban, Luke, Kevin, Will, myself, Ezra. And I'm probably forgetting a couple, but I think she said she was out there for somewhere between 10 to 15 hours per day. So it wasn't just a walk with my card.
Okay, and I, to be fair, I knew all of that. I'm glad you could share it and let everyone else know that. There was no questioning for me as to what her role and or dedication was while she was out there, and I can understand at a long distance how somebody might, come to that conclusion. But that's why I think it's important to share all of the details, the full story to it, that it wasn't just, there was some special provision for just Mr. Chris Dickerson and no one else. So,
right. And yeah, I heard that, some people said it was more of a mental advantage of having, comfort or something like that. But to be honest, I live 3 hours from here, and a lot of the spotters on the holes and tournament staff, I know them. I'm good friends with a few of them, and I got to meet a lot of them this weekend and get to know them. So I received a lot of, good feelings and, stuff like that just from the spotters and the people working the event. So I don't think I got any kind of advantage from Brittany being there. If I got any kind of advantage at all, it was from the spotters on the course and people working the tournament.
Oh gosh, now you're throwing them under the bus. No,
I know.
No, and to be fair, I think there's some players out there that said if their significant other was on the course, it would be a huge disadvantage to them in their game. So I think if you looked at it all around, there's a lot of angles. But I am really glad you could clear that up. Now, in another semi-serious tone, you made a really powerful post that I think hit a couple of the social medias yesterday, talking about your anxiety and things that you've dealt with. Is there anything to that well, I'll ask, did anyone else know that before you made that post? I mean, outside of you and Brittany and your family?
Not really. Zach Melton may have been one of the only disc golfers on tour to know. I started having anxiety just before we left for Vermont. We had to quarantine, and I think that's what kind of brought it up, was just being, distance from other people and, stuff like that. But yeah, I think Zach's really the only one to know, and he sent me a message one day, or he sent Brittany a message saying, "Hey, just wanted to check in on Chris," something like that, make sure he got home or got wherever. And I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, thanks for checking in," and he sent back something funny, and I was like, "No, I'm serious. Thanks for checking in." And it was like his tone completely changed. He was like, "Oh, you were serious. Okay." Because he knew something was wrong, but I don't think he knew completely.
Well, no, I think it's really powerful what you said in your post about having these feelings, and to quote you at the end, you just say, "For anyone facing anxiety, you are not alone. Never be afraid to reach out to those around you. You're not broken. You just need some help." And that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I've got to give Brittany credit for that. That the ending was completely her, but
I'm not gonna say. I kind of wondered, but okay. You two are one.
I think a lot of people did, but no, it was her words. But I completely agree with it. I've noticed that it's been a little bit easier to cope with it, talking to people and talking about it and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Well, let's. I think a lot of people applaud you. Of course, we do for being able to share that and to put it out there, and agree with everything you said. And in that nature, let's move on to another a topic that's, I think, very exciting for you guys, is the fact that you're building your first house, and you went a few hours out of your way after, what'd you have to do? Go drop off bags of money you were burying in the basement while they were pouring the concrete or something like that? But you stopped and visited your brand new house that's in the middle of being built right now. Give us the updates.
Yep. So we left on Sunday morning to go home and, take care of a few things there. Brittany's mom needed help moving some stuff into her recently finished house. So we had to go home, get the truck, and help her with that. Also got some haircuts while we were there and checked on the house. Yeah, the house it's coming along.
And you two are building this. You got a little bit of land, and it's on track for just about a Christmas celebration and finish date. Is that right?
Yep. Supposedly, right around Christmas, it should be done. One of the workers made a bet with Brittany that it wouldn't be done until April, something like that.
Wow.
But her mom's like 2,300 square foot house. It took the guy saying our house would take the same time to build as theirs, and our house is a little over 800 square feet. So I just don't see it.
So a small footprint, 800 square feet. How did you guys decide? I feel like we maybe touched on this a little bit last time, but how did you guys decide where and the style and all that other stuff? I mean, obviously it's a pretty big move for a couple.
Right. Well, the way we decided was Brittany brought the ideas in, and I agreed with most of them.
That is the best way. I've told this story before. When my wife and I were planning our wedding, I always told her, "You come to me with two choices. That's it. I don't want any more than two. I'll tell you which one I like, and then you will go with the one you like." And that's in general. Yep. That's how it goes.
Oh, yeah. In the entire house building process, I had one thing that I wanted, and that was a nice shower. That's it. That was the only thing I asked for in the entire house. Everything else is the way Brittany wants it.
Now these are the nitty-gritty details we strive for here on SmashBoxx. When you say a nice shower, is that the shower head? Is that the pressure? Is that tiled? Is that a heated bathroom floor? Like what makes up for this setup that you want?
It's not a heated floor, but it is I don't know if it's a tile shower either. Is it? Okay, it is. Tiled shower. It's a pretty decent size, and it doesn't have doors. It's one of those where it's like half a wall and the other half is just a glass. And it's got a handheld shower head and a rain head.
Oh, the rain head is key. Man.
Yep.
That's what winning USDGC gets you.
Yeah, folks, listen up here. You too could get your own style of shower and you win the USDGC. That's awesome. I think about 800 square feet, and then I think about how much room did Chris demand of his shower footprint, so to speak, to get exactly what you want.
That shower's taking up about half of the house. No, I'm kidding.
This shower has a closet, so we're good.
That's awesome. And it's funny because it sounds like you exactly described the shower that I had at the event this weekend at my hotel. It was like the half glass. I'm just like, no, I want a door. Nobody needs to see any of this. There should be a door here, but it was half. It was a half a wall of glass, and then the other half was open. And yeah, it was okay. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
See, he can stand, as someone says, he can stand under that rain head and just feel like he's at USDGC forever, the entire time. Just sit there with a disc.
I get to relive it.
That's right. Every day you get to remember your USDGC win.
So the house was already on order and getting in started well before USDGC. And you mentioned haircuts. What else? What else did you guys do to go all rich or go all out and flaunt some of that disc golf rich money? What was there a treat? Was there something special that accompanied this big win with you and or Brittany? There had to be something, Chris. Come on.
As of now, no. The only thing we've really done to celebrate was we had a date night yesterday, but besides that, I mean, we went out and we watched a movie on Hulu. But
what'd you watch? Everyone wants to know.
Hocus Pocus.
The original?
The original.
All right. Because I think they're doing a remake is what I heard this weekend. Someone had told me with like the original cast maybe? I don't know.
No.
I
Don't tell Brittany that.
Sorry. I thought I'd heard that, but no, that's great.
Okay, so you said date night. How is Zach doing then? Oh no, he wasn't involved.
He might have been invited.
That's funny.
He couldn't.
Nope. We were back in North Carolina
Okay.
by that time.
That wouldn't stop Zach from coming, probably. Yeah. I know. I want to talk real quick about this upcoming weekend, the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale. You are the 2-time champion of that event. Last year, if I'm correct, you ran through all 4 rounds to become the champion. How are you feeling going into it this year? Do you feel like your game is as prepped as it can be? You've been playing the event. What I need to make some picks yet, Chris. Do I pick you?
This is awkward.
Statistically, I wouldn't say I'm not telling you to pick me or not to pick me, but I'm saying statistically, the picks in the higher seeds that already have buys are more likely to make it in the finals because they're already halfway there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm not going to tell you to pick me or not to. But I don't know. I'm thinking of it as just another tournament. It's
well, do you think last year when you had to run through all 4 rounds, I kind of felt like Chris is really in a groove. He got to play 4 full rounds of competition, and I felt that maybe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I felt that maybe helped you get into a good flow like it's a regular tournament as opposed to coming in cold, maybe like some of the semifinal rounds. Do you feel that you're going to be, I don't want to say at a disadvantage because you're already into the second or third round, but is it going to be more difficult to kind of get in the swing of it when you're going to have people that are already ready and raring to go?
So besides the opportunity to be eliminated, I think it has a little bit of an advantage to play the earlier rounds because like you said, you're getting into a rhythm of playing the tournament. You know what kind of scores are coming in once you get to the second, third round. And I mean, you've been at the course every day playing it. So, you know, like if it's been windy, if it's been calm, stuff like that. And I've got a theory and a game plan to prepare for that. I'm going to get out there every day of the tournament early before they start playing, and I'm going to play my round as if it was a tournament round. So after I'm done playing, I know my score, and I can compare it to what people are shooting once they finish their round in the first round and the second round. That way, you know, it would have been the same as playing the tournament the first 2 days and going into the third one. I've got an idea of what I need to do.
That's a great strategy, and it kind of ties into a question that came off the board, which is, as one of the most consistent golfers out there, what are your tips for consistency?
Ooh. Tips for consistency. the first thing that popped into my head was whether it's putting, throwing, whatever, as long as everything, or even your run up, as long as everything is moving in that straight line from where you are toward where you're throwing, then, you know, that's going to be the most consistent outcome.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like you've changed up anything in the last couple of years, like anything that the world should notice, or that is, you know, yeah, I'm sure you've had minor tweaks, but has there been anything major that you've changed up in the last couple of years for yourself?
Over the past off season and the past year, I've really been working on my sidearm. I feel like I'm getting a lot more distance than I could before, and I feel like it's a little more accurate than it was before. That would probably be the biggest thing. I mean, my putting, I tweak it here and there. I actually tweaked it just a little bit before USDGC, and it just happened to work out.
I'll follow that up and ask about tweaking. We just had a call just before our podcast here talking about some of the slight or major changes out on the course that you're going to see, or you maybe have seen. Any thoughts about, you know, either whether it's a new hole or a new pin or anything that you saw on the course, anything you want to share with the world that makes it a little different from last year?
Yeah, there are two holes that I think one is hole 8, the other one might be hole 13. They changed those. 8 last year was actually, I could be completely wrong with the number last year, but it was a par 3 for us that was a slight turn to the left, and there was a big tree in the middle that split the gap. So you had two small gaps to hit. It was just really, did you want to throw a straighter disc through the left gap or a more of a stable disc through the right gap? They changed that hole up to a really tight gap, and they made it longer. I feel like the hole it plays, actually, I think the hole is around 400 to 420 feet, but it's slightly downhill. Maybe it plays 380, 390. And it very much sets up for a sidearm hyzer flip shot. So that's the first one. The second one is a brand new hole, and it is another tight shot, pretty straight for the most part, fades to the right at the end, and it's also, it feels like 420 feet, but this one's flat, so I think the distance plays, you know, pretty accurately, and, you know, it sets up pretty good for a hyzer flip sidearm. So after I played the first practice round here, I text Jerm and I said, hey, I know the couple of holes you helped out with, and yeah, he messaged me back, and we talked about it a little bit, and he was like, no, I had nothing to do with those holes. I helped out with these other ones. And I was like, well, I mean, if you didn't help out with these, then, I mean, it sets up for your game perfectly. And he said, oh yeah, absolutely does. And I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah. He just has to know where he is on the scorecard this year. That's what he needs to worry about.
That was 2 years ago, I believe, wasn't it?
No, that was last year.
Nope, it was last year.
Oh, it was last year. Oh,
yeah, because he thought he had the tie in, or he thought he had, was it Perkins or somebody in the points? He thought he just barely had. They were tied going into the final hole, and he thought he had the tiebreaker, which he didn't.
Awkward.
Wah, wah,
Yep.
wah.
It was Nate Perkins. I heard him talking about it earlier today.
Of course.
I think he said Nate had him by 0.4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Just some very small number. And what made it very confusing was he was higher on the
card,
the leaderboard, that they were carrying around for their card. So he thought, being higher on that, he had the higher rank.
He's got a plausible story. I'm not going to say he was crazy. However, he also in that was making a large assumption that he could have very easily double-checked on his own, and he never did, and that's why it came back to bite him a little bit. And unfortunately, I remember the scoff and the scorn and the frustration he had as he exited the whole 18s green at that point. It was not.
This may sound like a dumb question, but are you excited for the payouts? I mean, how do you feel about that? Like, I mean,
he's like, I'm going to build another house next week.
Are you going to be bitter at all if you don't win and this year it's 15 grand? You're like, come on, guys, seriously, I should get a little of that.
No, I won't be bitter at all. I did make the joke. I was like, you couldn't have done this last year.
Of course.
But no, I think it's great that we're getting that much money into the sport, and I think it's great that they are getting ESPN for, I think I heard it was the last round.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, both Pro Tours really doing good things.
Well, and I'll follow that up.
That's why you got a haircut. Expects to be on ESPN.
The last I had heard is the 15 for both men and women, first place. That was a guaranteed minimum, and he officially, I'm calling him out, said they're trying to get it to 20 per, which would of course be the largest payout we've seen in modern day disc golf. And the fact that there's the parity with both the men and the women, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think I did hear something similar, like you said, around 20,000, but then all the payout sheets I've been seeing so far are 15. But I don't think I've gotten a final payout schedule or sheet.
Yeah.
You could get some last second money.
Yeah, I think that was the hopes, that they said 15 was the bare minimum, and they were hoping to go above that.
I think we just keep saying it, and then he's got to make it
he's
happen.
Obligated.
Let's force his hand is all we have to do.
25.
Like,
I heard 25. For, I heard 30.
30. And there should be a 10 grand per year, repeat bonus.
Oh yeah, the repeat bonus.
The repeat bonus should come into effect this year, I think. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of other big sponsors do that.
Does that get grandfathered in?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're 3-time. We go right to that $30K bonus for you. I mean, I'll pull for it as long as it's not coming out of my pocket. I'll pull for that all day. I'd love to see you get it. Yeah, and I will piggyback on that a little bit. Are you excited about the payout? But is it at all hard to just be as excited about the event? I mean, you went through an emotional roller coaster, both physically and mentally, and a roller coaster entirely this last week, and now you're 30 minutes north of where you just competed, and then you got a couple extra days off, like you said, and I love how you're prepping for them. But is your will or your desire is it wavering at all right now?
No, not really.
Cold-blooded killer.
Just I look forward to playing tournaments.
True.
As soon as one's over, it's very rare that I want to take a break or I, want to rest. I think I told Jeff in an interview. No, I think it was you, Terry, that if it wasn't raining on Sunday, I was probably going to head out to Hornets Nest.
Yep.
So it was raining on Sunday, so that's why we went home. Yeah, so I look forward to practicing for the next tournament. I look forward to competing in the next tournament, whatever that is. So, this tournament coming up, I'm just looking forward to it.
Are you going to have an off season? I mean, you kind of are, as they say, a road warrior. You tend to hit a lot of before this, at least, maybe things change now, regional events, B tiers, A tiers, C tiers. It's just whatever's in your area to play. Once the Pro Tour finale is over and you get home, are you taking a break, or are you just going to kind of check that PDGA schedule for the next closest tournament?
I think I just found my answer. Go ahead.
Cheater. Terry looked at the PDGA site.
It's what I guessed, but go ahead. Tell everybody what your plans are.
Is that answer Myrtle Beach?
I see Myrtle Beach on here. I see the Hub City Halloween Open, and I also see the Belgian Turkey, which is, I know, a very popular tournament down there. So yeah, I guess that answers our question. You're playing golf.
Yeah, and there are a couple more besides those. I think in December, yeah, I don't remember which weekend, but in December is the Chain Hawk Open in Gainesville, Florida. And I actually got a call today from Robbie at New World, and they're thinking about scheduling a tournament the week after the Chain Hawk Open. So anybody in that area that wants to play that tournament, just keep an eye out for that to pop up.
Oh, that's so gracious. You're going to invite everybody to come so you can beat them. You're such a sweetheart. No, that's awesome. That does lead me to another really legit question for you of, I don't want to say who's all reached out to you, but have you had, outside of even media, you have support, I know, by Prodigy. Savage is a supporter of yours. Have you had either new sponsors or any other really cool media outlets or anything else reach out to you yet with regards to anything?
Reaching out to me? No, not really.
Okay, well, we're here for you.
Not yet.
Right. No, hopefully, sure.
I mean, and what I mean is, like, you know, you're now the USDGC champion. So when a special piece gets put together, maybe it's from the state of South Carolina or wherever. I feel like those kinds of additional things outside of disc golf media, they're all going to come with the territory. Now, I know we're in kind of a weird year for extra stuff, but I feel like all of that stuff is probably going to be around the corner at some point for you. So exciting. All right. Anything that we didn't ask you about that you need to share with us? It's your open mic.
Ooh. Nope.
All right.
Tell us, did we at least maybe scratch the surface of one of your longer interviews at almost an hour?
It could have been. You know, I don't keep up with that kind of thing, but if I had to guess, my longest interview would have probably been with you all.
Okay.
And who knows, it could have been this one.
We'll go back through the record book. I think it's been about a year since we spoke last from when you won the Pro Tour Championships. We'll have to go back through the record book and see how long that interview was and see if we broke the hour barrier last time.
I ask because I think back to your good friend Kelvin, and when I saw him and his dad and I think his mom came to the course, we were all at Throwdown the Mountain, or maybe it was last year's October event, whenever it was, and it was his dad who said to his wife, oh yeah, here's the guy that was on that interviewed that interviewed Calvin, and they got him to talk for more than a half an hour because it was after we had him. And I thought, yeah, that's I can't imagine his interviews usually go too long. So you and him can battle it out. All right.
Yeah. A lot of people haven't seen the very first commentary that I did, but you know, that's something that I probably should just let die, because there wasn't very much commentary on it. And I will say the comments, awful. They're a good read. I'll say that.
Motivation, right?
Yeah, motivation to say like 25 words instead of just 5.
Well, Chris, I see you guys every weekend. I know I made a post a few weeks ago about just loving to see you and Brittany on the tour, and you guys are always just such a bright spot in everyone's day, I think, when you're out there. I love interacting with you guys, and I know you're both working hard in your own respects and paying all of your dues on the tour and now reaping those benefits. And I really do enjoy running into you guys literally all over the country, and looking forward to more of it. And looking forward to seeing you in a couple days down there in Charlotte and see if you can take down that third title with all that repeat bonus money.
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right, pal. Well, we appreciate it. Have a good night. Get some more rest. And like I said, we'll see you in a couple days, and yet again be featured in all the disc golf media for the whole world to see. And we're looking forward to it. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, and thank you all for having me.
Of
Of course. Have a great night.
All right. Have a good night. See ya. And there you have it.
We got an hour. We got an hour out of that guy.
I mean, not that there was a timer, and it all was so
No, it's
fun
never-
and natural, and we love catching up with that guy. So much fun. Yeah, crazy.
Best
crazy.
dressed guy on the course.
I mean, if you're not loving
Camo
his
and plaid usually.
yeah, if you're not loving his plaid Savage shirts that he's been sporting, he had like the we'll say orangish, and then usually it's or before that, excuse me, it was the straight red. Yeah, just I love it out there.
It fits him perfectly. I love it.
I knew things were going right this weekend when their dog let me pet it, and I was like, oh my god, it did not bite my hand off. Things are good.
Very funny. The very last thing, so I think we've said this before, after the broadcast, usually for the commentators, we shut things down and I get a freeze frame of whatever the very last thing when the commentators turn off the video. The booth turned off the video, and I swear, Terry, you were walking back towards the camera. It froze as you were petting their dog.
Oh,
Because, yeah, that's you had just, I think, taken some pictures with the winners, and then you were walking back underneath of the canopy, and Sam had turned off the camera just as you were petting their dog, and so it was a freeze frame of you petting the dog.
Yeah, and again, the win there is that I still have my hand, so that's very, very protective, very fun-loving doggy out there.
One of my favorite moments, if you haven't gotten the chance, go check out the DGN wrap-up show that we did and the interview with Chris. Fine interview, nothing as good as this, clearly.
No.
I mean, it's Smashbox. But my favorite moment was after we had said goodbye to him, we go back to the booth with you and Jamie, and I could see in the other camera just this perfect moment of Chris and his wife, and just the most sweet hug that they had, that I actually cut back over to it for a few seconds. If it almost felt awkward to capture that moment.
Yeah,
It just, but it's one of those things in sports that you just kind of have to show that they were just happy, just so it felt like the pressure had been let go, and they had both just let their guard down and had a nice embrace. And then we cut back over to you guys to talk some more. Go check it out. I thought it was touching.
Yeah, no surprise. Like I said, they are such a joy to run into on the course whenever I'm out there and partaking in any capacity. All right. We would be remiss without also giving our huge shout out, congratulations, and accolades to the now yet highest rated yet again, Paige Pierce. You're, of course, your
991
women's national champion, and yet today, again, busting out a new highest rating ever for FPO.
It's phenomenal. And I feel like it kind of almost puts a nail in the coffin of any conversation about, well, would Paige be winning this much if the Europeans were here? I kind of feel like, yeah, she would be. I think based on the quality of her play, she has 7 Pro Tour wins this year, maybe.
Yep, out of 10. Yep.
Maybe she only has 6 if the Europeans were over here. Maybe she misses one of those. She's playing at such a high level. It is amazing.
Yeah, and and this is of course this is all just about the comparison because it's quick and easy and right in front of me. As I did a quick search for our competitors for this weekend, the 16 women that are in the Pro Tour finale. And I just did a quick sort there by rating. Paige, of course, the 991. Sarah Holcomb is rated 969. Katrina Allen is rated 968. And Haley King, who I believe had a significant jump here, maybe 9 points or more today, is up to 964. Heather Young, I'm going to double check what kind of jump. She jumped up 5 today to 953. And Vanessa Van Dyken at 942. So just throwing those out there in terms of what we're seeing, and just to put that also into a perspective, if roughly one stroke equals, on average, roughly 10 points, that means just on paper, for an 18-hole course. Now, of course, this varies based on details of the course. This isn't a full-blown calculus class, but on average, when she's rated 991 versus Sarah Holcomb at 967, that's roughly 2 strokes per 18 holes on average on paper that she, I don't want to say has an advantage of, is statistically favored, you could say, depending on the course and the style and such. So,
well, let's briefly talk about USDGC. Then we're going to talk about WGN.
Or WNC.
WNC.
We could talk about Chicago.
We're going to talk
Cubs.
about Chicago Cubs. WGN. I don't know.
I mean, it's fair. There's an N and a W there. You just got a G and a
I was actually thinking in my head Women's Global, and so it came out WG,
okay.
and then it was like, no, that's anyway. And then we actually have a video from Paige Pierce. Technically, it's from Ace Run Productions, but it features Paige Pierce. It's a one disc, one tip. We can kind of show everybody that. So real quick, USDGC. Spoiler, and I know this is tough because the post-production hasn't come out yet, so I don't know if we're okay to talk about this.
Okay.
Can we spoil it? Everybody, if you don't know who won the USDGC, just turn it off now.
I was so mad when I went to the USDGC Live website and they had the winner listed.
Obviously, our guest tonight, Chris Dickerson, winning by a single stroke over Kelvin Heimberg. Kelvin, who we saw just have that brutal roll away on 17. I don't know if it would have changed anything had it not rolled away, if Chris would have played the course differently. There's so much variables there that
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's right. Third place was Ricky Wysocki. He fought back pretty well on that final day, shooting a 4 under par. Double G taking 4th place, shooting a 5 under par that final round. Paul Macbeth in 5th place, tied with Kyle Klein. What a young stud Kyle Klein is becoming. 7th place, Paul Ulibarri, a great showing at USDGC. 8th place, Eagle McMahon. 9th place, Chris Clemens. And 10th place, the man who qualified on Monday, Johnny McRae. So congratulations to all of the players who cashed. This is the most difficult event probably to cash at in the game.
And speaking of cashing, not only did Ricky Wysocki have that incredible performance, and I'm kicking myself for not completing this full sentiment, but Ricky, I think, sometimes feels like if you're not first, you're last, and he had to split. And when it was all said and done, I have the beautiful 3rd place trophy of Ricky Wysocki's that he said, yeah, you can have it, buddy. So thanks, Ricky. Absolutely gorgeous.
And not your first USDGC trophy.
And hopefully not my last. If I keep mediating well, I hope the trophy every year I go. No, in all seriousness, absolute beautiful piece. And and I just know, and I even think somebody said something about how they didn't care for the trophies, which to each their own, whatever.
The glass,
beautiful
bowls.
blown glass vase, blown vases. Vases. And somebody was saying that about Paige's specifically. It looks pretty much just like Ricky's. And I'm like, first of all, I love them. And second of all, to each their own. And last of all, I would say what you have to have a unique piece, even if it's for first, because just think about the wins a Ricky or a Paul or a Chris or a Paige or whomever, what they have. If your trophy is not phenomenal for even first place, it may not get displayed. I think about how to, and I know Paige has left some beautiful trophies behind that she's given to people or dedicated or donated to people. It's just incredible. I mean, when these players and someone like Paige Pierce, for instance, who primarily lives in her van, like to be fair, she can't exactly bog down her van with all of her trophies year in and year out. And I know some of them she takes back and her dad has them and so on. But the real long-winded thing I'm getting at here is if you want one of our sport's best players who wins a lot to display your trophy for the event, it's got to be a damn good one. And I think these were. And I'm obviously Chris should display that front and center at his brand new house. I'm sure Paige will as well. But they got to be beautiful. And
I hope it goes in his shower with him.
It's his soap dish. It's where he stuffs his dirty washcloths or holds his washcloths.
Just like, hey,
he stuffs it full of loofahs.
All right, let's talk about the women. We
So-
have the Women's National Championship. Again, spoiler, Paige Pierce by 4 strokes over Katrina Allen. Paige had this with a few holes to go. She had kind of admitted that she was kind of letting Kat dictate what she was going to do with those last few holes, kind of watching and playing a lot for par, and gave herself the luxury of doing that by playing well the first 3 rounds, because going into that she had like a 6-stroke lead. 3rd place was Sarah Hokum. 4th place, Heather Young. I'm sorry, tied with 3rd place.
Yep.
Excuse me, with Sarah Hokum was Heather Young. 5th place, Owen Scoggins. 6th place, Macy Walker, tied with Kona Star Panis. 8th place, Rebecca Cox. 9th place, tied, was Haley King, Missy Gannon. So congratulations to all the women and everyone who cashed, as always.
Yeah,
it's
the
kind of
the
amazing.
quick notes I want to make off of our, I'll say our non-winners, but no, the quick notes would be Heather Young, phenomenal final putt of the tournament to secure that 3rd place podium spot. Circle's edge, death putt, dead center of the chains to get into the tie with the hot round of the day and one of the hotter rounds of the weekend in Sarah Hokum. So huge shout out to both of them, and of course the entire field, and Kat with a solid performance trying to make that push, not quite getting there to get Paige. But and clearly we're not overshadowing Paige's victory, but that final day in terms of the Paige victory, it just was great to see those other battles and some really good play come in, and I'll say it, seeing even in the weather and whatnot, which wasn't as bad for the women, Hokum to come out there and have a really, really solid round and finish with her 7. But Paige could be saying, yeah, well, that's cool. I didn't need a 7 under.
No, she didn't.
My 2 under did me just fine to walk away with still a 4. And one of the big announcements that was made that Nate Sexton said on our show, I think he kind of broke the news on the Disc Golf networks inside the Winthrop Arena, was saying that next year Innova is committed to hosting a women's
event,
and
it will not be a major.
And
next year, at least.
Yes. So really cool to see the dedication and the commitment to having.
Couldn't they just tack this onto the USDGC and have an FPO side and then make it a major? I don't know if they can do that legally.
I don't know how those details work. I know USDGC has forever gone with the moniker of one division, one
Correct.
champion, and of course FPO and women have competed in the event a number of times throughout all these years, but to have a separate division and in a sense then a separate event, obviously that's how it was orchestrated or laid out this year, and if they want to keep in that same theme, or maybe they want a different set of branding, as an event that they own. I'm not sure what it's going to be, what it's going to look like, but the fact is they committed to doing something, and that's all we know for now. Yeah. And things may change. Someone saying, why not a major? Well, for starters, majors have to be, there's a bid process, there's an approval process, there's all of these things that kind of go along with it.
I think the majors are scheduled out at least through 2022.
And that's just it, is they've been awarded. So somebody else who's maybe gone through all of those steps might feel somewhat slighted or frustrated, like, oh, well, we're just granting them, a certain status right off the bat. And I know COVID played into a goofy year this year, so I can't come up with every answer or scenario there. I'm just throwing a few things out for you guys. I like to just make stuff up.
That's what we do here on Smashbox.
Yeah, we are.
Let's get into this Paige Pierce one disc, one tip from Ace Run Productions. It's a couple minutes long, so sit back and take in what our WNC champion has to say.
everybody, it's Felix with Ace Productions. We are back with another one disc, one tip segment. Today we've got the 5-time world champion, Miss Paige Pierce. Paige, thank you so much for taking the time out to film this segment with us, and thank you for Smashbox to continue to air these segments here. So Paige, we know obviously a lot about you. You're a 5-time world champion, but how long have you been playing the actual sport of disc golf?
I'm 29 years old and I've been playing since I was 4. My dad took me out just as a little kid, so I've been playing for 25 years now. But I didn't start playing tournaments until I was around 10 years old, so competitively for about 15 years.
Wow, so there's a wealth of knowledge and experience you've gained in that time frame. You're with Discraft now, you've got a whole new bag. Thinking about your bag, if you could pick out one disc that you think would fit anybody's game regardless of skill level, what disc would that be?
Yeah, honestly, it's the Soul. A lot of people were surprised that I put my name on this one and I chose it as a signature disc, but I quickly fell in love with it. It was the first disc at the warehouse that I put my hand on and I was like, wow, this feels amazing. And actually the owners told me, you're probably not gonna like it, it's understable, but understable is exactly what I would recommend to any player, whether you're a slower arm speed, a new player, an advanced player, or a pro player. Everyone needs an understable disc in their bag. And the reason I choose the Soul is because it's also, not only is it understable, but it's also glidey. So when it's turning right, as long as you give it enough time in the air, it will hold that glide over and slowly pan over to the right for a right-handed player. So I think it's really, really helpful when you're throwing in the woods and you don't want that sidearm to skip. Or if you're just a backhand dominant player like myself, the Soul is definitely one I highly recommend.
Wow. Really refreshing to see a top-level pro talking about having understable discs in the bag versus the overstable stuff that we see all the time. So really great disc. Awesome. Love that. Switching gears a little bit, if you could think of one tip that you think, again, can impact anybody's game from novice all the way up to pro, what tip do you think that would be?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we are so focused on what we think about flight numbers a lot, but the most common one I hear talked about is the first one, the speed. People talk about speed 12, oh, I need a speed 14. Don't just look at the speed, look at the glide. I think that is very important when throwing a disc. Use the glide to your advantage. So if it has a lot of glide, throw it higher in the air to give it more time to glide out. If it's not high enough, it will hit the ground and kind of accidentally roll. So make sure you use the glide to your advantage and throw them with a little bit of speed up higher in the air.
Wow, that's a new tip we haven't heard yet, so there you go. Obviously sound advice from a 5-time world champion.
Thank you.
So I want to take the time out to thank Paige Pierce again for filming this segment with us. Big thank you to Smashbox for continuing to air these segments. And Paige, if anybody wants to follow along with you on your social media journey, where can they do that?
Yeah, most of my stuff I do on Instagram. It is instagram.com/Paige Pierce 29190. But yeah, you can find a lot of stuff on my website as well. I have my full about me section. It's like 6 paragraphs long. So if you want a little more elaboration on how I started, check out there. And also I got some sweet gear like this shirt and hat on there as well. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks Smashbox and Ace Run.
Thank you so much, Paige. Really appreciate it. Thank you again, Smashbox, as Paige said. And as always, from Ace Run Productions, let's get excited for some disc golf.
Awesome.
It's hard not to get excited for disc golf lately.
Yeah. Nice work, guys. Always great to hear from Paige. She has so much insight and dissects the game and so many more details than I feel like. And she's really good at communicating them. And I'm not saying others don't think about all those things, but Paige often shares those things. And when you think about the greats in our game, so often they're talking about things you're like, what? You're thinking about that? Or, you know, when Ken Climo's like, yeah, I noticed on hole 7 what the wind was doing, and then when I came back around, 6 hole later, 13 parallels that. So I was thinking, like he's, always thinking ahead, always thinking about so many more factors and variables that are so much more than what's just obviously right there in front of you. So incredible. And I've seen her throw that disc all the way back, I think back to watching her park a very particular hole in Thailand, and watching her park that shot over and over again was incredible. So no surprise that she loves that disc, because I've seen her work some pretty serious magic with it.
And Ace Run says she nailed the throws and the interview in one take.
Of course.
She's amazing.
Come on.
No doubts there.
Not surprised at all by that. So
I was going to say, do you want to talk real quick a little bit about USDGC and the media, as this event had some very unique media?
Yeah,
It
My
had.
recap shows every night. Let's get into those.
There every night at about 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock. Terry went live on Facebook from his.
No, YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was YouTube. Yeah, you just promoted it on Facebook. I'm sorry, it was on YouTube, and you were in a purple hotel room thanks to your LED light.
You
pink?
see,
Was it pink?
It got switched up based on super chatters.
Oh,
Speaking of which, Rock Searle, gracious super
did you
chatter.
Did you change it manually, or was there? IFFT?
No,
Okay.
it's not that fancy of a light. It's like a $40 light. So I had to go in there and change the actual. Oh yeah, I had red requested, blue requested. Like you said, I started with purple. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some next level single man production. Let me tell you,
it's amazing.
Before we do get to the real media, I do want to say it was actually a lot of fun. It was kind of believe it or not, an unofficial spur of the moment thing. I thought, oh, well, I could talk about what happened during the day.
Because you don't talk enough about what happened during the day.
Exactly. And that's what I found. I felt like I did regurgitate a lot of stuff, but then I also realized some people didn't consume it or didn't have the either the means or the time, and found my breakdown to work as well. Some people, of course, didn't like it, and that's fine. I think a lot of people are just disappointed. It says recap, and they were expecting some kind of highlights or actual action, of which I had none of, and I definitely did not try to sell it as such. But I did it the first night. It was well received, and I thought, well, I'll talk about golf some more the next night. A few too many Scotch ales later, and 3 hours later, I was still talking. The third night, we had to keep rolling with it, and so yeah, and then
of course
I had to conclude it.
You
at that
have to
point.
finish it.
I was
up
obligated at that point, but in all seriousness, it was a ton of
your
fun.
recaps were longer than the rounds.
Yeah. A couple of them, went almost 3 hours. Of course, at some point there was some tangents about a lot of things, and I just wanted to say it's something I think about doing often when I'm on location.
Yep. We've talked about it quite a bit.
And if people will continue to consume them and they find any value in them, I will keep doing them as best as I can. So, all right, now we could talk about the real media that was there.
Gosh, those real media. So we saw the Fulcrum production. Most of you saw it. I hope you spent the money to take in one of the best battles we've seen in a long time at USDGC. If not, I think you're missing out. But there was the post-production. There was the live media. There was the Disc Golf Network wrap-up show. Then there obviously the Terry Miller wrap-up show. From what I saw, and I'm going to be honest that I watched more of the FPO footage than I did MPO, because during MPO, we were getting prepped for the afternoon, or the evening show, as we call it on DGN. So I didn't get a chance to watch as much of MPO as I did with FPO. So I want to talk a little bit about FPO. I thought that Juliana was awesome. Gonna leave it at that.
5-time.
No, I'm just teasing. I've talked to Hannah a little bit. She was phenomenal too. The pairing between them was great. I felt like they let the action speak for itself quite a bit. They didn't try to fill the air, as I know a lot of times some of our other commentators are accused of that, on whether it's post-production or live, or maybe the MPO on USDGC side. That I think that those two together were awesome. And Juliana is, for those of you that don't know Juliana, crazy smart, just and crazy talented at a lot of different things. So it wasn't too big of a shock to see that she could do this live production as well as everything else she does.
Yeah, and it's always Juliana had posted about being just a little bit apprehensive and anxious or nervous about going out and performing well within the role and the scope that she had this week. And it's funny because I think everyone else that knew her was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. You're going to be great. And then she turned out to be just that. She was great. So I of course, I really enjoyed the pairing and what they did. And it's fun to also be in the perspective of, I've co-hosted with Hannah at a number of events or called a number of rounds with her. So to watch her do it with Juliana in an FPO exclusive capacity, the way they did, and with Juliana's background and knowledge and history and all of her accolades and everything else, and obviously her brain power, as you said, it was a great pairing, and I thought they knocked it out of the park. And what's crazy is this was their first go at it, together, and I thought they did really well.
If they do, the funny part is I was thinking if Innova and the USDGC group and was it Disc Golf USA or whatever company that they came up with to do all this, if they do have an FPO event next year, it almost has to be covered live again, because it would be an absolute travesty. Yeah, that's a perfect word, to just cover USDGC and not cover WNC live. So I think we're going to see WNC, if it's whatever it's called next year. I'm just saying WNC. Whatever it's called next year, covered live. And based on those two, what they did, I wouldn't want a different pair to cover FPO. I think those two should cover FPO for as long as they want to. And
maybe I could sideline report for it.
Maybe you could.
That'd be fun.
We did see Nate Sexton walking around with the FPO the entire, most of the days. I don't know if he walked the entire round, but he was there for a majority of the time. And then we saw Nate jump in to the MPO broadcast, because as a lot of you know, Nate kind of in his old age pulled up limp. No, he had a back issue sometime during one of his practice rounds. He didn't feel like it was in a position to be able to push through, so he took a step back and is fortunate enough to be able to step into a commentary booth with Ian and Philo, who, from all accounts, and again, I only caught a little bit, were very good as well. No surprise that Philo, we've heard him do post-production stuff. He's very well-spoken. He is, I think even he joked, he's a totally different person in front of the camera than he is on the course. Philo tends to get himself worked up on the course a little bit, but behind the scenes, a lot of us know him as a pretty cool cat, and that's how he came across on the broadcast. Knowledgeable, well-spoken, everything. So they kind of had a three-man booth at times. Nate was doing some interviews, I believe. And the one thing I'll say, I almost felt a little bad for Ian and Philo, because bringing Nate into this, Nate, as everyone knows, he's a superstar. Like when it comes to commentary, everybody loves him. He's part of Big Sexy, and he's a known commodity. He's phenomenal, and I feel like he maybe outshone them a little bit, that they didn't get a chance to prove their, like, those two doing live. You brought Nate in, and he made the broadcast better. Sure. Not that they weren't doing a bad job, but just anytime you bring Nate in, he's going to make it better. It was a good three-way commentary. I would have loved to have seen Ian and Philo do it by themselves.
Sure.
Just in the fact that I want to see how they perform live. The time that Nate was down there, they were doing a pretty good job. And I think Nate just added to that. But I felt a little bit bad thinking like, oh man, like this is Philo's time to shine. And then then Nate, rightfully so, steps in and does a great job. But overall, I thought they all did very, very well. Yeah,
everybody so much enjoys the laid back, I'll say kind of that West Coast vibe that you get, Central Coast otherwise, but that West Coast vibe you get of low-key, relaxed, and laid back. Ian, Philo doing a great job. Of course, like you said, Nate doing a great job. One thing that I think was probably vastly different, good, bad, or otherwise, and I'm guessing a lot of people would find it good, vastly different, is that Ian has very much always made it a point of knowing and relaying the specific disc that people are throwing. And there, I'll be the first to admit, there have been conversations, not just at SmashBox, but then also even this year within the Pro Tour, as to if that is the right way to go about it. And right's not even the right word I'm looking for. If that is the best possible solution or not to listing out individual discs as opposed to someone just calling it a driver or a mid-range or a putter. Now, there's a lot of angles to look at that. The two main ones being people at home love hearing what the disc is. The opposite being some manufacturers that are or aren't represented in some capacity within the broadcast may or may not love that. Those are the two main arguments, and I think there's about 6 other side arguments to it, but those I think are the two main arguments to it. And it was something that was definitely different this weekend because we don't hear that typically in most of the other broadcasts that are held here on the Pro Tour in terms of calling out the specific discs. So,
and I know that in the past, we've had Robert McCall on doing commentary, and he likes to do that. And it's a little bit easier when you're on site because Ian can do a little bit more prep work beforehand, walk over to the players and just kind of be like, hey, let me get an idea, see your bag, maybe take some pictures, do whatever. When the booth is remote, like the DGN has out in Bend, there's no way to do that. And you can try to email them, you can try to contact them. It can be very difficult. Some people liked it. I read some people hated it. Some people didn't like him calling out the discs constantly.
Really?
That it was too much, that they would almost, some people, of course,
Sure.
Everybody's different, would rather just hear whether it was a high-speed driver or a fairway driver. Some people really like to know that, it's a Rock 3 or something along those lines.
A max weight Rock 3X.
Exactly. So
Rock X3.
me personally, I think you can find a good balance between the two of them. I don't know. Again, I hardly listen to MPO, so I couldn't say about whether or not Ian did it too much or too little or just the right amount.
Yeah, and
that's so
yeah, I'll echo that. I don't know. I personally don't know if it was too much or too little, and I think everyone's got to judge for themselves on that. My problem, just like I had this conversation with another local gentleman today, my problem with that, and maybe even more so, the in the bags, I always feel like that's great that Paul Macbeth just threw his Zeus or his Luna, his Crystal Luna. Cool. He threw that on a 497 foot uphill shot. Cool. Like that. I say that sarcastically. I guess it's kind of cool to know, but in terms of like needing to know that because it impacts my game, or I think I'm learning something from that, I'm not.
I'm gonna defend that in general. If he's throwing a Luna extremely far like that, that's something I think you can totally call out. Any other, like when he throws, his max weight Zeus versus his Malta versus whatever, to me that is where I'm like, I don't care. Like he throws a driver goes far.
Sure.
When you throw a putter and it goes super far like that, I think it is kind of cool to be like, oh no, that's his Crystal Luna that he threw 412 feet on a line or something. I think there's a difference there, but I understand your sentiment.
Yeah, and I do follow that up and also think, all right, cool. So Ricky Wysocki's throwing his Destroyer. Is it 2 years old? Is it 10 years old? Is it max weight? Was it from a certain run? Did it have a puddle top? Like there's so many different variables that even when you do call out discs, I understand people want to hear them, but I also feel like it's not necessary. Yeah. I don't know that Ricky didn't take that disc to his basement and throw it against the wall 7 times. And actually that brand new Destroyer that we're calling out really doesn't hardly even fly like a Destroyer anymore because he's purposely threw it into the wall to break it in. And so that's what kind of always makes me laugh about in the bags and knowing all the
especially
shots.
Ricky, who I think has like 6 different Destroyers in his bag or something along those lines. It's just it is funny. But some of these people really know these guys' bags. And
I know,
and they really want to know, did he throw Destroyer 2 or 3? I mean, one's yellow with the rainbow stamp, the other's tie-dyed with a yellow stamp. I mean, those fly 2 totally different ways, Terry. I need to know which one he threw. So
Daddy Disc Golf says, I'm not seriously upset about this. It's just something that I personally, throughout many years of this, have not put as much emphasis in because I do feel like the discs are so
unique
to everyone's player. And then everyone's playing capabilities. Like, let me tell you, I don't care what Ricky did with that destroyer. You're probably not throwing it anything like that. You're just not going to, because you don't throw like Ricky. So he could be throwing $1 million bills around. It doesn't matter. Like,
that might matter.
I mean, if he gets his hands on them. So, and this is, again, I know that has been a staple of Ian's commentary, and this is almost removed from the Ian component. I understand a lot of people love it. That's why he's doing it. It makes perfect sense from that perspective. It's I guess the one thought is someone had mentioned and said it's great for the companies. It is. But I'm not saying this happened, but let's just say you're Innova, and the top 12 people from rounds 2, 3, and 4, whoever those 12 people were featured on, and let's just say 0 Innova people make that, and every single brand gets all these shout outs and call outs for those 3 rounds 2, 3, and 4. I know you can say, well, their players should have been on the lead card. Yes, you can say that. You just have to wonder, is anyone at Innova, I'm just throwing out the question, ever like, yeah, I'm kind of sick of we're putting on this event paid for this whole broadcast, and I'm sick of hearing 12 other people's brands being called out.
Well,
who knows? I would hope not. I don't think so, but those are all just
things that
thoughts
have to consider.
I got a lot of thoughts.
Oh God, so I don't believe that. So we saw the pay-per-view coverage. I hope that we get to see numbers from it at some point. We do know that the gold package, the highest package with the discs, sold out, and I'd be curious to see some of the numbers. I know last year they released them. I'm hoping they do that again sometime in the next week or two, so we can find out if the experiment, we'll call it, to withhold post-production paid off for them, or whether it is a model that could be looked at in the future. As far as post-production goes, I believe it was Central Coast that did that. They had a couple, there were some complaints about how late the post-production came out. It was coming out basically almost after the next round's coverage. So, you know, if the first round coverage probably came out after round 2, it's difficult to do post-production, guys. Like, and with especially as busy as Ian probably was, and I know Corey was out there doing slow-mo stuff, and their guys, like, I don't have a problem with when it came out, mainly because I didn't consume it, but I don't have a problem in general with the timing that it came out. There was no promises as to how soon it was going to get out. It was just that it was going to be next day. So I can't say anything to the quality. I'm assuming it was up to CCDG specs, because that's what they did. So there's that. Yeah, and I wish I could provide more insight, but I did. I consumed what basically the feed that you had coming in for our show, and then outside of that, I didn't consume anything else throughout the weekend. So I'm just going to assume, unless somebody screams otherwise, I'm going to assume everything looked pretty good. And you're exactly right. Ian was wearing a lot of hats, not only calling the shots on the MPO side, of course, with Philo, or on USDGC, but then he was working on some of the actual edits. And then I think he ended up doing commentary on both MPO and some or all of the WNC stuff. So, yeah, you want to talk about a grind for a full weekend. I know that he was all over it. So hats off to those guys. Like you said, it'll be interesting to see if, whether it's Innova or the USDGC or Fulcrum, if there's anything that's of shareable nature that they care or wish to share. I don't feel like anybody owes me or us or any kind of details. It's their company. They can do as they wish. So if they provide details or some insights, I think that'd be cool. But I certainly, I know I'm not losing any sleep over them either. No. And then we saw, obviously, this weekend, what we were involved in, the DGN put on the Inside the Winthrop Arena show. That, in case you didn't get the clue the 27 times that we happened to mention, was a companion show where we just checked in on some coverage. It wasn't. Well, we charged extra for that, right? No, that was included in your DGN Well, we get to watch every shot, though. No, we checked in on holes like 1 and 2 and 17 and 18. Oh. Some people were a little confused. I saw some of the comments come in on the DGN about people upset that they didn't get a chance to see USDGC when we quote unquote promised coverage, even though companion show, this and that,
bonus.
Yeah, I get it.
Companion.
Some people don't pay full attention and they just kind of side eye things, and they maybe felt that they were supposed to get the full coverage, but they did not. Anyway, I thought overall the shows went pretty well. We had some cameras out on 17. We had the cameras in the studio, so to speak, right in front of 18's green. Got to see players come in, got to show some highlights that Mo sat here and clipped from the live show. It was an interesting show in that it's nothing that we have ever done before, like a pure interview show where we just kind of check in on the golf. So I hope for those of you that did happen to watch it, I know there weren't a ton out there. I saw some of the numbers. It got an okay turnout, but it was I enjoyed it. It was different. It was a lot of work specifically for Mo, but it was something different.
Yeah. I understand, like you said, that we tried to everybody in this camp tried to do the best to let everyone know this was not a planned or scheduled, agenda'd show up until literally a couple weeks ago, in the sense that this was all bonus content and truly kind of a new concept to bring you a little bit of a segue that carried you from the end of the WNC rounds into the beginning of the USDGC rounds to then make sure you're still watching the fulcrum for morning and afternoon, and then come back to us after the, as the round is concluding on the USDGC side. I just don't know how that could have been made more clear, and I'm sorry that people still somehow misunderstood it. I get it, whether you're only paying half attention or you just make some kind of an assumption or whatever. It's just it is certainly, it's bewildering when someone signs up and then has the nastiest message in the world and is just irate, and literally like 3 sentences of reading should have clarified everything, but you refuse to do it. And
or the comments that as Disc Golf Nerd was saying, I saw some online and private messages about they can't believe that they have to pay extra for USDGC. I already pay for DGN. And it's like, first of all, never the DGN's fault there. They would have loved to have USDGC on their thing, but that was an Innova decision. And who knows what's going to happen in the future? None of us do, but I'm sure that the DGN and DGPT and everyone would have loved to have the USDGC under their umbrella. It just wasn't meant to be this year, and it's by really nobody's fault. It's just the way it worked out. USDGC had some of this stuff planned for a year or two based on how many years they were going to work with Fulcrum, and DGN is a relatively new product. So there was nothing, and I know a lot of people don't understand the behind-the-scenes workings, and we can talk about it till our ears turn blue. It was just interesting.
What I can't believe is I pay every month for YouTube NBA Live, and then I can't even watch the Michael Jordan Last Dance on Netflix for free.
I know. I thought,
right? Is that not almost exactly it? Like,
very similar.
You're literally, I understand you're watching basketball or you're watching something and then there's something else on. There are other platforms and channels and relationships. And and even with all that kind of cockiness and sarcasm aside, I can understand how there could be a moment of confusion because Disc Golf Network has cemented themselves along with SmashBoxx as the live disc golf provider, and in a lot of ways that's a compliment to us, I feel like. So I can understand some of the confusion, I really can. But then when it is clarified,
especially for newer people that are coming to the sport that only know DGN,
and then to make the very simple clarification, as these are still 2 different items, these are 2 different companies and platforms. If you can't wrap your head around it after that point, then I don't have much hope or faith in you. So yeah, that's what I can say about it. I don't know. I'm just mad that Shaquille O'Neal is not breaking down my Last Dance video for me every night. That's what I'm mad about.
Anyway, media, lots of it. from what I could tell, most of it was really, really good. The only comments I'll say about the live broadcast as far as Fulcrum's side, I felt that the audio was a little unbalanced in spots. There was one
because Philo's taller than Ian. What are you saying?
No, I think one of the cameras was relatively louder than the other one for most of the weekend. Sure. Little things like that. I felt that you could tell as the weekend went on, they got better at doing their cuts and the cameras. I give them crazy mad props for how well they did in that rain. That is very difficult. It's difficult. It's loud. It's difficult to communicate with your cameramen. It's difficult to communicate with everybody in your, even probably in your studio that you're working with. So I can't, there was 2 or 3 times we saw a cameraman clean off his lens. Like, it was suddenly you see, and you can tell that he's trying to do it when he's not on camera, but there is a couple second delay between when I say, all right, you're on, just as he cleans it, and you can't help that. It's very difficult to get into that kind of groove. It's taken us 10 events this year, and I still don't feel like we're in a perfect groove. We're doing much better than we did at the beginning of the year. I would say that the broadcast that they put on at Fulcrum, production-wise, felt like one of our earlier broadcasts with some of the camera cuts and communication. I liked the graphics. They looked nice. They added a little bit more professionalism to it with some of the little borders that they had. And other than that, I mean, thankfully I didn't have to, but had I paid the $20 for the live coverage, I felt like it would have been worth it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I guess the other point I was going to say to that is I think for those who are waiting, the post-production, Chris Dickerson won and Paige Pierce won, the post-production via Central Coast, if you did not pay for the pay-per-view version, we've been told that will be released fully in 2 weeks. I'm guessing 2 weeks from Saturday, so another maybe 12 or so days from now. So if you're going to hold out, which is totally fine if you're holding out, clearly you wouldn't be here watching if you're trying to hold out and avoid spoilers, but I of course saw that immediately. Dude, I was going to wait the 2 weeks, but Prodigy just spoiled it for me.
Well, and I saw somebody complain, and I think I told this to you, that I can't even watch the Disc Golf Tour finale, Pro Tour finale, because they're going to spoil the winner during the live broadcast. And it's like, yeah, we are. When Chris Dickerson is winning in the final round, and we say, oh, yeah, Chris Dickerson, who last week won USDGC, so that's going to make somebody mad.
Yeah,
and they're like, I guarantee you someone's going to send a nasty message that they can't believe the Disc Golf Network spoiled the USDGC that was a week ago. Count it. Look for it out on Facebook or Reddit. You're going to see it. I guarantee it. Someone, maybe it was Darren LeMay, asked, when is SmashBoxx going to get a drone? The drone was really cool. I had this discussion with Mo as we were sitting here, that the drone is difficult because they probably have someone there on site, and the phone that they usually use to communicate with it is probably hardwired right into their switching machine. Or at best, it's on the Wi-Fi, so it's on the network. We would have to send that over. And I kind of feel like there is a cost-benefit analysis there. Would we want to pay a person to travel around and do basically just drone shots?
Almost exclusively, because you have to be fully engaged in doing nothing but that drone. If you're going to do it similar to them, in that they cut to it often when the group was literally walking from 2 to 3, and they might be showing them walking, or they're showing other aerials from the course that are in live real time at that point. You need a dedicated drone flyer, and you're going to have to hope the weather's good. You need a dedicated drone flyer that's doing that at all times. And as you said, is that cost truly worth it or not?
And Mo was telling me how much he loves it. He's like, I love it. And
As
it does.
do I.
It's really cool. The best shot was Double G's eagle, watching that roll down the fairway from the perspective of the drone. It was phenomenal. I have a hard time. I still kind of live in this, like, I look at I pinch every penny, and I'm like, do we want to pay somebody just to do drone shots? And on a lot of courses, it's not going to be worth it. Charlotte, there's going to be like 3 holes where you could see people walking down the fairway.
The drone operator's just going to fly over hole 2 because it looks really nice.
That's the only one.
That's the only open one.
And as we know, everybody seems to love, and I don't blame them, wooded courses. They want to see that. They don't love the open courses, which is where the drone is going to be most useful. I don't think, I don't pay the bills. I don't pay any bills. I got debt collectors at my door. No, I'm just kidding. I don't pay any of the bills for the disc golf network. So if they decide that they want to add a drone person, we'll work on getting it set up. If I have my say, I'm going to say, please don't do that. Find a better way to spend your money. We'll see what happens. It's probably something I could see happening in a couple years. I hope not next year, but that's just me.
Well, and just to put this one to bed then, with regard to that, some people noticed the drone. Some of the players, I heard some comments that were made.
It had flown higher up the last few days.
So as drones get quieter, as batteries get longer, as drones are more adverse to windy conditions, as all of that technology increases, I think there becomes more and more of an argument for having it. And I've said it countless times. I just cannot imagine a drone operator, and I know a cameraman can get in the way just the same, but I cannot imagine a drone operator, a huge shot gets thrown and somehow the disc hits the drone. I don't care about the drone at that point, what happens to it. I'm caring about how it's impacting the play, and it's just another potential for that, along with the potential volume and noise that can come from them. I think those things will all get addressed in the next couple of years. I really do. But those are things that continue to get thrown out there as ideas.
That's why we're, as someone mentioned on the board, we're going to teach Terry how to fly a blimp, and you are going to.
I think that was mentioned at one point.
We're just going to have the Goodyear blimp.
Oh my gosh, there could be so many overweight jokes about me made if I'm just out there hustling around the Goodyear blimp. Hey, if we can get Goodyear on board,
I'm down with it.
I'm up with it.
So that's the status on the drones. Again, I just want to give a shout out to Fulcrum. I thought they do one event basically a year, and I thought they did I thought they did a good job. I was going to say a noble effort, but it was more than a noble effort. It was a good job that they had done. So shout out to them. I'm sure hopefully we'll hear more in the next few weeks about whatever difficulties they had versus strengths that they felt they did. So I'm excited.
You got it. Awesome. I'm excited to see what they continue to do and what the game plan is moving forward, like we said, with the divisions or with the multiple events. And then as media continues to grow, someone did ask a little earlier and said, was there second or third card coverage that's going to be released? And I think the short answer to that is no. There might be something that, depending on what cameras were used, and we are just speculating here because I don't think you or I know the official answer.
I know nothing.
I don't think there's going to be an official chase card production put together from the cameramen and women. There was actually a lot of camera women out there, just to clarify that. So from the camera operators. But I don't know how they recorded or what their philosophy was. I cannot speak to that. I know that, of course, Ian and his crew were concerned with getting the lead card in both situations, and I'm not sure what they got from anything after that. And will any of those additional cards be part of it? I'll say I don't think at any point was there a crew, so to speak, on a third card. So that's definitely a stretch. Second card, maybe or maybe not. That's all to be determined.
I believe or at least they supposedly had a crew on the second card the entire time. I don't know if that footage is going to come out or not. It would be kind of cool to see that Kelvin round in its entirety.
Sure,
but I think they did show a lot of his shots once he kind of started getting, I think, around hole 6 or 7. So
yep. All right. I do want to quickly touch on one other thing. I know I gave him a shout out a little earlier. One of the factors and most delightful of souls, or pair of souls, Searles. I was talking earlier about Rock Searle, and often you see him out there on hole number 4, and then often...
Is he trouble on 2 legs?
Yes, he is. You see him also... taking pictures either of or with people that have birdied hole number 4, and that's something that I think has been missing out now for the last couple of years, unfortunately. Rock and Pat, who have been out there, but he did want to give me a quick breakdown, and also I think there's a birthday I can get in there because Dixon Jowers was pictured on hole 4, which is what I'm referencing, and I think it's his birthday today. So happy birthday!
It is.
Long-winded waited to that. But some birdie summary he sent me over, and I just want to quickly share. He said 2 women each of the first 3 rounds birdied it. 3 women in the final round. Owen Scoggins got it twice, and Heather Young got it 3 times. So this is all in reference to the hole that he has very much overseen for the last few years, and that is hole number 4. So Heather Young got it 3 out of 4 rounds. Owen got it twice.
Cool.
On the other side, there were 25 for birdies on the USDGC side. Chris Dickerson got it 3 times. And the one person out of the entire field, one person got it all 4 rounds. It's my boy, Kyle Klein. Got it all 4 rounds for the birdie, which is crazy to think about. One hole that somebody got all 4 rounds, and turns out to be one. Yeah. So huge performance. We already we know that by Kyle, but getting hole 4. So Rock and Pat, everybody I know missing you out there, and thanks for your support during my shows and the Disc Golf Network action as well.
Some other notables that happened this weekend. I don't want to talk necessarily about disc golf. 5 people inducted to the Disc Golf Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
One of which, Valerie Jenkins. We showed that on the Disc Golf Network, that portion of it. So shout out to everybody who was inducted, and of course to our good friend Val. And then the Golden Rake, which is given to it's a USDGC tradition given to a volunteer, a quote-unquote volunteer of the year. And this year, if I'm correct, it was given to Ma Wallace, right? Who has been spotting hole 18 for like 15
I honestly, I
years?
apologize. I don't, off the top of my head, know the exact number of years, but I know it's been quite some time.
Yeah, and as everyone, as we've mentioned before, Old Man Wallace, who recently passed away. So it was a very special Golden Rake ceremony. Hopefully everybody was able to catch that on the broadcast. I unfortunately did not. I missed it that day. So I'm going to at some point go back and check that out because I think it's well worth it and a very, very cool thing to do for them. It was a super secret because she was actually spotting on 18 and I guess they brought her in to give it to her. So just very, very cool moment.
And then to do quick, I'll double back quickly on our Disc Golf Hall of Fame class of 2020. You mentioned Valerie Jenkins, Valerie Jenkins Doss, as she's listed as going in. Jesper Lundmark from Sweden, also into the Hall of Fame. Cliff Town in the Hall of Fame, PDGA number 5450. And Cliff Town, to me, I know he's done countless things, but to me, really helped drive and implement not only the early days of the PDGA course directory. That was how I always knew and recognized his name from afar before the internet, kids. There was actually a spiral-bound book that you would buy every year, and it had all the updates and all the directions on how to get to courses. There weren't GPS coordinates even in the book. It's quite a piece of history. And then he also did the club affiliate program, the affiliate club program. Those were the 2 ways that I knew him best, and I know he's done a ton of other stuff. So Cliff Town into the Hall of Fame. Our previous Hall of Fame curator and just all-around super energy and just
with a
beautiful
nickname
human.
Like Speedy.
Yeah, Al Speedy Guerrero, who had really helped organize and be part of the Hall of Fame for, I don't know if it's been the last 15 or 20 years, for quite some time. Speedy, as long as I can remember, I know being in charge of the Hall of Fame. He stepped down last year, technically, I think, and then he was inducted this year, PDGA number 3816. And then Bob Harris, who again, I apologize. I don't know as well as the other 4 inductees, but Bob Harris, PDGA 2552 from Ontario, Canada. So I can't speak as much. I don't know Bob, like I said, like I knew all the other people that were put in, but obviously quite deserving, and to be in our Hall of Fame is pretty incredible. So I'm going to have to go out and do some more research myself on Bob. But I know the other 4 relatively well, and congratulations to all 5 of them. And yes, quite honored to see our Disc Golf Network's own Valerie Jenkins, and able to show that and share that with everybody out there this weekend. Couldn't think of a more deserving woman. Pretty cool.
Should we wrap this up, Tear Bear? Get to some after show action, or do you have anything?
I'll throw it out there. Luke chimes in saying Bob has been organizing events in St. Thomas, Ontario for 30 years. And I'm sure that, and I'm guessing a ton of other things, but thank you for the reference point for sure, Luke. We appreciate that. Hope you're safe. Where are you, Luke? Singapore? Thailand? Hope you're safe, buddy. All right, guys, we'll close out the regular show. Of course, we'll head into the after show where we'll talk more silliness about some things that might be disc golf related. They might not be. We're going to give some stuff away, so we know you love that.
We're going to give away a disc member box.
Dang, another disc member
box. Shout out to disc member.
All right,
I have it.
I like
right
that.
Here.
Okay.
And it's
Tell them what they've won, Johnny, or going to win.
This box.
That's a bigger
this is
one.
a thicker one.
I like them
thick. Yeah, I have no clue. I picked it up today from my office. So whatever's in here, you could probably go out to the disc member website, let them know that SmashBox sent you. But if you would like to get this box, you can be a Patreon supporter. If you'd like to get the box and not be a Patreon supporter, you can go to discmember.com and sign up for like $25 a month. They will send you a monthly box. It always has a disc, and then it usually has some extra goodies in there. So there might be a t-shirt in here. There could be a beanie. There could be a dinosaur. I don't know. I'm not opening it to find out.
All right. Well, I promise I won't open it before I send it to you. And then just put actual rocks, pebbles in it, and then send it to you and be like, I don't know, I sent it out to our Patreon winner. I don't have any of those goodies at my house. I wouldn't do that. I love you guys too much. No, you won't listen to me scarfing down any of my cold Chick-fil-A fries during the break, thanks to Johnny last week. If you were around last week, you know what that's all about. We're going to close it out. We have to thank Chris Dickerson, your United States disc golf champion, for joining us here tonight. Congratulations to him and Paige Pierce, your women's national champion. Incredible performances. I think a lot of you have them picked to perform well in this weekend's upcoming Disc Golf Pro Tour finale, as you should. It's going to be an incredible weekend. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, that has been SmashBox TV's podcast 319. Don't go anywhere. We'll roll the credits. We'll make funny faces at each other, and then we'll be back for the after show. So make sure you guys stick around. We'll see you then when you step inside the SmashBox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's 319th
After show. It's probably not our 319th after show. I think we've skipped just a few, not many. We've condensed a regular show and an after show, but I mean close enough. It's our 319th show,
Dude,
and this is the after show.
Pretty soon we're gonna hit that 320 next week.
Yeah, that's what happens. It comes after 319.
Yeah, it does. Killing it here on Smashbox or not. Thank you guys for joining us. This is, in fact, our after show. I'll reiterate, just like from the regular show, we make no promises. And we're glad you're here to join us. Now, in the after show, if somehow you're not familiar, we'd love to share it that this may or may not be disc golf related topics. During our regular show, things are a little bit more on point, probably talking almost exclusively about disc golf related things and people and storylines. Here we may do more of that, and it may spill over, or it may go completely off the rails into other random stuff that you'd think, why are these two clowns talking about marble races or old video games?
Oh, you want to do marble races tonight?
Stop.
Oh,
no.
We can do some marble races tonight.
No. It can go anywhere. And we love the fact that if you are listening or watching live, that if you tune in, whether it's via Facebook chat or the YouTube chat, we typically then see comments and or questions that come in, and that will help continue to feed some of this nonsense. So that's where we're at. Sometimes we have our own topics, and other times we don't. That's what's going on. Thank you, guys. We have a sizable crowd here tonight. So if you're new here, or if you're silly enough and you're coming back because you've been here before, we appreciate it. Let's start. Well, do you get any topics?
No, not off the top of my head.
Hot or not so hot take on I'll politely call him out. Simon Lizotte, not a good weekend.
No, I think that...
Are you surprised?
No. He has not played well at USDGC the past few years. He's finished under 50th, I believe. This is the third straight year. He's having elbow issues, so he's having a problem with his forehand, which is extremely advantageous on this course. He basically, I think, tanked hole 17 at least 2 or 3 days.
I saw 2 of them.
I saw 2 of them as well, and I don't think I would have seen the third because he was so far down the the field. I think that this event is either... I think it's a combination of things. I think it's at the end of the season. I think Simon gets worn out mentally. I think that he has a hard time getting revved up for this particular event. I think that not having his forehand hurts him. And in general, I think it's in his head now. This event, I believe, is in his head. It is going to take some true, either like a break before USDGC and some real concentration on this event to really turn that around. Because if he keeps coming into this event after 5 or 6 straight weeks of playing or, of doing whatever he's doing, I think this is what's going to happen continually. He has every shot that's required out here.
Mm-hmm. Does he have the distance?
I don't know, Terry. I just think that he's I don't know if I would have a lot of faith in him next weekend or this upcoming weekend. It feels like he just gets maybe burnt out at the end of the season.
Somebody had just asked on the board, and we're not out to pick on Simon. We're just doing some math.
Did he go like plus 22 on hole 17 this weekend? I thought I saw.
Well, I see a 5 and a 5 and a 5, so that's plus 4. Another 5 is plus 6, and then
that wouldn't have been possible.
No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at wrong numbers. I apologize. So he went plus 1, plus 6, so he's plus 7. And then a double bogey is plus 9, and then a 5 or over par. So he went plus 14 on
plus
hole
14.
17.
I mean,
he went 14 over par on top of the 12 strokes. So he played hole number 17 in 26 strokes.
Maybe that's what I'd heard was how many strokes he'd played.
And I think there's some other players that played it in 9.
And it's not just that hole.
No, of course.
This course doesn't suit his game. He's an aggressive player. He's not necessarily the most accurate player. He likes to he takes the big shot most of the time when he gets the chance. I just don't think this is his event.
He had 30 OB strokes. 13 in round 4, crazy conditions, but 13. 12 in round 3, 9 in round 2, and 6 in round 1. So he had 30 OB strokes. That's clearly gonna make for a rough weekend.
Of course.
Understandable. So he's got a new YouTube video out there, though.
Yeah.
Check that out. Him and Eagle break down the best putters.
The best putters on tour. Plus, they just dropped his new signature disc.
Yep.
I don't know what it's called even.
And then they also did a triples round with Eagle, Simon, and Kyle Klein. So plenty of entertainment out there for you guys. Gosh, let's switch gears briefly to my favorite conversation that does amuse the heck out of me, and it's always on Tuesdays. It's the relentless screaming and yelling and complaining about how ratings are so dumb and how they so don't matter. And then a Tuesday like today rolls around and I see nothing but screenshots of people's ratings and the ratings that are there.
Do you see those from pros?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I see them from non-pros, but I also sure.
Because there's one thing for the pros to say ratings don't really matter to me, blah blah blah, and then if they go and post clips like, "Oh, I went up 2 points, I went down 1 point, what the heck?" Blah blah blah. That's being hypocritical. Now, just because we'll just say I'm going to use Yuli because he's been pretty open about it. When he says, "Yeah, ratings don't matter for us," and somebody else is posting pictures, then it matters to that other person clearly, but.
Yeah, I can't speak, and I'll use one example, the one that jumped out at me the second you asked if pros are. Alden Harris, I think I saw him post that he went from 1,012 to maybe 1,019 or 1,018. Mm-hmm. I've never seen him post specifically that he doesn't care about ratings, like Yuli, for instance, has been vocal about it. So I'm not picking on Alden, for instance. First of all, congratulations on raising your rating. So I'm not picking on him. I've never seen him necessarily post one way or another. However, the general sentiment of how dumb ratings are, how they don't mean anything, how trash they are, like there's so much of that
from
until your rating goes up.
That's a minority of people that say that.
You think so?
I think so. I think it's a vocal minority.
It's the vocal minority?
Because here's what I've said about ratings. They don't matter at all for pros.
Okay.
But they do tell you if you're getting better. Like, as we see from Alden, clearly he's shooting better now than he was 6 months ago or 3 months ago or however you want to, however it breaks down. That's great. It's a good finger in the wind. Like, cool. You're
that's what that's a reference to?
Yes.
I've been doing it wrong for a lot of years.
No, Terry. He's trending in the right direction. But does it matter? No, he plays open. His rating means nothing once he steps on that course. Whether he's 1019, 1053, the rating itself means nothing. It's a way for us to rank people. And, like it or not. Like right now, if, Kelvin's the second highest rated player in the world.
Oh, okay. I'm
fairly certain, right behind Paul. I think Kelvin jumped up.
Just as a quick reference, because I have his stats in front of me, Paul's at 1058. Looks like he went up 3 points.
And I think Kelvin might be at 1048.
Kelvin is at 1052.
1052.
Going up 8 points today.
All right. So second highest rated player in the world. But you could easily make the argument that he's the best player in the world right now, if you wanted to make that Kelvin argument. I mean, I don't necessarily believe it, but if someone were to come at me with a bunch of cool facts and figures, I'd be like, oh yeah, look, he won this and he did this and he's been this consistent, blah 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 blah.
Chris Dickerson, I don't know how that guy wins anything. He's only rated 1044.
He went down.
Went down a point.
He went down. Gosh, what a slacker. So anyway, ratings came out today. Whoopity-doo.
Okay. Says you. I'm pumped.
Yeah, did your rating go up or down?
I didn't look.
I haven't looked at mine.
It just, again, it always amuses me. And here's the funnier part. I mean, these were clearly released sometime around the midnight-ish hour Central Time, because I saw them pouring into Facebook last night. Like,
oh, wow.
I hadn't even gone to sleep, and I saw them pouring in with the screenshots. And now let me be very clear. I'm not picking on you if you're excited about them. I'm fine with ratings. I really am. I don't think I've ever contradicted that. I'm just saying I find it funny when lots of people bash them over and over relentlessly, but then they're made such a big deal of is where I'm going with that.
You're worse than Chris Dickerson.
I mean, ratings don't matter.
Because your rating went down 2 points. His only went down 1.
Oh, so clearly, we're still pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, you're not much worse than him.
No. I mean...
what?
So our batting,
other than those other 90 rating points,
relative to batting averages,
yeah.
Like, what's the difference between like
a
444 hitter and a 344 hitter? Like a measly 100 points.
That's right. Who cares? Yeah. I mean, you guys basically had the same the same summer. You lost 1 point. You lost 2.
Yeah, I mean that's a good summary. I like that.
I didn't lose any, so I'm better than both of you.
Yes, you definitely.
I
are.
granted didn't play any events to change my rating, but
so anyway, it just they always happen to come out. Almost always happen to come out on Tuesdays, so it does make for one other conversation piece. I'll say it again. I'm a fan of ratings. I certainly don't get worked up about them one way or another. I do think they are a great.
Yeah.
A great snapshot. I do think they do help tell a story. Of course, they don't tell the entire story, because we all know you got to show up to the course and you play, and tournaments aren't won or lost based on ratings.
They should be. It makes it so much easier to make my picks.
Yeah,
Ryan,
like,
oh, look, this guy's higher.
Ryan Pilcher asks, can this be a monthly segment? Every month when rating updates, Terry updates post, Terry calls out every person he sees that has complained about ratings, and then it's posted about their rating.
The monthly call out.
I'm good with that.
That's awesome.
Darren says, though, matters for the fans and media. As DG grows, the fans and media will continue to be more and more important. Most sports aren't only watched by people who play the sport. That's the major difference in niche sports.
Yeah, I feel like this is equivalent to, or close, and I'm going to get probably fried for this, like your quarterback rating. Like, cool, you could have a really good quarterback rating, but your team loses, and it's one aspect of your of your game. It doesn't really. Again, it's a number. It's something to play with. I like ratings because it helps me with Skip Ace, in that I use them as a as a salary cap feature, so I don't mind them in that perspective.
Yeah, and they clearly make sense. Again, just an interesting snapshot, literally, as I'm looking at screenshots on the page. Also saw, now we mentioned Paige Pierce, now 991, and then another highly referenced and talked about person as we've watched him grow throughout the year, and Brody Smith fighting his way up to now 994 with a 9-point rating increase. And it is, to me, it is all part of telling the story. And even for him specifically, you can talk about where his rating has gone and the things he's done this year to put himself into various positions, and then in various improvements, I should say. And then that is backed up by numbers that are then on the screen.
Mm-hmm. SSJ Char asks, is DGN 10% off right now?
Oh my gosh.
And it is.
It is.
Just so you know, I found out about that tonight.
Use the code nothing. No, you can just go out there. It is 10% off. I saw the
promotion. The
promotion today. I didn't know it was coming. Not that I know much, but
they didn't run it past you.
Nope.
Weird. I think they're trying to basically just give you a discount to lock in for the whole next year. So if you do that 10, you can get that 10% and get all the great live disc golf that's going to happen next year.
And I know also along those lines there was a reference to, and I want to find it for you guys so I don't sound even more like a bumbling idiot. No, there was a reference to some more of the content that is looking to be produced and available as part of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Because I'm sure a lot of people are asking, hey, disc
It's
golf
the off
really,
season.
Yeah, disc golf really slows down or stops. Why should I continue my subscription, or what is going to be available and what's going on? I understand that a lot of people would ask that, and I'll read directly from the graphic that was produced so we don't sound dumber. One live event each month through the off season, which is funny because is it live? Or is it an off season then? New off season interviews with top pros, live rewatches, which is where they take either a historical or a monumental or a some really large scale event or pivotal or whatever event or situation, and then have it rewatched by somebody that was in either the group or the winner or whomever. So live rewatches, plural, and then additional scheduled programming, which sounds like a catch-all. Be looking for a full slate of programming to be released in the next few weeks. And yeah, you get the 10% off now through 10/31 through Halloween night.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, but
do it.
If things happen the way I hear, we should be seeing a really awesome event in November, a really awesome event in January, and I think the putting competition, the putting in
VTI. Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't make the graphic, but I think they're trying to do that again.
Yeah, I believe they're going to try to do that again this off season. So look forward to that. That's all going to be hopefully exclusively on the Disc Golf Network, but just in general. And I can't. Again, I'm not going to say anything about the other two events. I just hear that they're supposed to be pretty awesome, but they won't. They are not announced yet.
I think what they should do is every day, if the
put Mo in front of the camera.
Yes, and what he'll be helping with is adding up election ballots for every day past Tuesday. That Tuesday, we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. We could go live with some election ballot counting. I think that should be a good time. Answering a few questions off the board. Sam says, "What are these monthly live tournaments? One every month." Yeah, Sam, but
we can't say.
We can't spoil that yet.
Darren asked, there's only been talks. There's nothing confirmed.
Does Terry still have that plastic on his damn laptop? No, I don't. It's gone. It's been gone for a while. Micah says he doesn't pay attention to ratings during his rounds, but it is fun after the tournament. It only helps me gauge my feelings on the rounds. That's kind of funny and almost kind of backwards. Like you should, when you step off the course, I feel like you should, like you could say, "Oh, I played well" or "I didn't play well," and then the chips fall where they do. But if you walk off the course and you feel like you played really, really, really well and you made everything that you wanted to, and then it's rated 30 points lower than than maybe what you think, are you then disappointed with your round?
And yeah, maybe. Usually you don't find out till later that night, but I suppose.
Steve Dodge vision come true. Okay. The other quick thing, since we're going to talk about tournaments briefly, is today I did fill out, and I say this because some people did reach out. I have submitted the paperwork that we hope the cold turkey will be able to come back here in Wisconsin.
I might get to play this year because we're not going up north for Thanksgiving, because I'm not going up to like one of the biggest hotbeds of COVID in the nation in the Midwest Wisconsin. Maybe I'll get to play the cold turkey.
Yes. So it hasn't been officially scheduled just yet, but I have submitted the paperwork. The plan is to host it. That's, believe it or not, this is the 15th year of it as I was filling out the paperwork tonight. So it's an event I always run. It's ranged anywhere from 70 some people to in the hundreds, and this year I think I'm going to split the days up to try and spread out as many people as possible and make it 2 separate days with pro divisions and so on and so forth. But look for that the weekend after Thanksgiving. So that's a C tier here in Wisconsin. Super personal plug there for my own tournament that I host.
Oh, ouch. That hurts, Darren.
That's where Seth has been coming at us tonight. He keeps posting it in the chat board.
I haven't. I didn't
guess
look.
That's what it might be.
I didn't look, Seth. That hurts.
Disc Golf Strong. Johnny set him up.
Apparently this week, I was playing Disc Golf Strong at Fantasy Football. We were.
Team.
Yeah, our team together. And I'm looking at the scores right now, and I lost.
Yes. Yeah, you lost.
We lost.
You lost.
127.42 to 127.72.
So
we lost by 0.3 of a point.
What is that, like a is that like a yard? 1 yard anywhere?
That's like a yard.
somewhere at any point?
Probably,
for
yes.
one team or another?
3 yards, probably. It's probably 3 yards. It's probably a tenth of a point per yard. Ouch! I didn't look. I just saw that the Bills had lost tonight. The Titans crushed them, but I honestly didn't take a look. You know, I'll say this. Don't count your chickens yet. There's sometimes stat corrections. And if I come back and win on stat correction, you're going to hear it.
Or until they correct the stats and he actually beats us
That
by
could
like
be.
a full 1 point.
Who cares? At that point, who cares? Like, but
Then stats are garbage.
Yeah, that's right. I don't believe it.
Darren clarifies and says it came down to the final minute. Josh Allen got taken out of the final drive. Had he stayed in, you would have won. Damn it, whoever Josh Allen is for whatever team.
It's the quarterback of the Bills.
So mad at them.
Well, it happens. I like my team. I'm okay with that. That's going to probably make me 3-2, but I got a solid team.
Yeah,
so.
I like our 3-2.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
I saw him post numerous times, and I only assumed.
I didn't even notice it.
I only assumed that was some kind
it.
of fantasy reference there. All right, Cody asks, care to explain fantasy football to the rest of us who have no clue? No, we don't. Cody.
No one knows. Go search fantasy
You just
football.
got my extended knowledge there a moment ago, and that's where we'll have to leave it.
It's best that way.
Yes.
If there's nobody wants to hear about somebody else's fantasy football team.
I don't want to hear about my own
unless you're in that same league with them. That's the only time. Like nobody else wants to hear about your bad beats, your good, your how great your draft is and stuff like that. The only people that want to hear about that are the people that are in your league. So, and the only reason I share this is because it is with the rest of the disc golf media. So, and that's about as much as I can take.
I heard that Disc Golf Strong guy cheats, though.
Oh yeah, hands down.
He was probably like working out during the game.
He
Total
corrupted
cheater
my
move.
players.
Total cheater move, for sure. All right, looking at some of the other action, saw Matt Graham was out there. He's got a round of golf, one of his first ever full post-produced rounds out there. Go check that out, Matt Graham. Nice work. Good to see it. Also, we really didn't touch on it too much, and I'm not going to go on because I do think, I mean, it's obviously important, but I do think it has been talked about extensively, and hopefully you've seen it out there. We also saw during the first day of the Women's National Championships the Respect Her Game hashtag that was put out there, and very much in unity. We saw a ton of people wearing the black shirt with the hashtag on it. I know it was just a huge campaign and effort. And it's not like it was one day and it's done by any means, but I know Sarah Sinclair, along with
Katrina Allen
and Sarah Holcomb, largely behind that effort, along with a ton of other people and help and input and whatnot. But it is great. And if you have any other questions about it,
respecthergame.org.
You got it. So go check it out. It's I ended up the one thing I'll finish that point with is I posted also roughly a 51-second video, just some random shots, some great shots I happen to have with me of some women playing. And I put it into a little 51-second clip. I posted it to YouTube, and as expected, to almost really drive home the whole point,
didn't we?
A bunch of jerkish comments.
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Did we?
Yeah, because
that would have been weird because it came out on Wednesday.
Are you sure? Because we had even discussed about how if you want to see a bunch of, if you want to see the reason why a bunch of this stuff is going on, go ahead and look at your comments of your thing. I
don't think we did because first day of play was Wednesday and we had a podcast on Tuesday. So unless you were reading our minds and jumping into the future, it could have been a personal conversation we had. But at any rate,
no, it was definitely in
point
public.
Being, to not take away anything from it, just the point being, check out respecthergame.org, and hopefully you can be an ally to what we're seeing in terms of that great campaign and movement. And that's what I will say about it. Okay. We didn't discuss the comments on here, Ray says. Yeah, Ray's a super fan. Ray knows.
But we did discuss the hashtag.
What was your announcement, which was the next day? I don't know if we had any announcements. I'm not sure what you're referencing there.
See, Alpha Zuma says, no, I remember this combo from last Tuesday, Terry. JVD isn't
We
crazy.
might have been talking about the fact that it was maybe coming up the following day, but the actual, or maybe it was on that day.
I think you
and every day
posted
the next day.
that picture. You posted that video. I think
Either
on
way,
Tuesday.
we can
Yeah,
drive the
that's
plane
right,
home.
people. Ooh.
Way to try and stifle the women's movement, Johnny. That's what I'm hearing. You jerk.
That's totally me.
That's where you're going with that.
I am in the middle of watching a video game documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
I'm watching that with my son. He gets a huge kick out of seeing a bunch of the old video games. Like they go through. We just watched episode 2, and it went through like the whole. This is how Nintendo actually came about, and like Nintendo World Championships and stuff like that. So he's getting a kick out of that. He's like, Dad, is that where that comes from? I'm like, yes, that's where all your stuff comes from that you know as pop culture from these video games. So it's kind of fun watching that. What else?
I will say, and yes, I did release the video last Tuesday, so some of those comments and some of this conversation could have been there again. I'm okay with that. All right. I can admit when you're kind of wrong, Johnny. It's okay. No. What I will say,
God, everybody's right about what they say about you on Reddit. It's
what I will say is I think it was an unofficial suggestion, recommendation by you. I did consume my first 2 or maybe 3 episodes of Letterkenny.
Oh, all right.
And so I guess my question, without spoiling or ruining anything for anyone, what do you know any of the backstory of the show in the sense that
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like, what was that other show that took place in Canada that feels like Trailer
Park Boys.
Does it have any similarities?
I never watched Trailer Park Boys, so I don't know.
Okay, so go on.
Basically, the main guy, he is the brains behind it, and he wanted to be an actor. He went to, and this is real life, he went to Los Angeles, where he said he basically got no jobs. Okay. And I can understand because he sounds like he sounds on the program. Like he has this thick Canadian accent. So I can kind of understand and why maybe he didn't necessarily get many jobs there. Goes back to Canada, starts up like a YouTube channel where they start doing these shorts. It does fairly well. He works out some deal with the Canadian TV channel to basically do this this long form, and it just kind of springs from there. The funny thing is, I think I missed the first 5 or 6 episodes that my wife watched. I picked it up on like episode 4, 5, or 6. I don't know, where they started up their own their Facebook clone called Fart Book or something. That's the first episode I caught. Okay. And then after that, I kind of watched it pretty regularly. And there are some episodes where I think it's like, that was all right. And there are some episodes that are extremely funny. Like just they almost brought tears to my eyes how funny it was.
Okay. Well, I have consumed, I think, like you said, the first 3 or 4 episodes, then it sounds like. And it has been funny, and I will be interested to watch more of it. It's called Letterkenny, all one word, and it's on Hulu. Yep. I would assume that's the only place that it's on. It's on Hulu. So for what it's worth, there's a recommendation. Now, I don't watch a lot of series or shows or anything. The only other thing that I've gotten into, only once I really fully understood the fact that I could easily download Netflix and then bring it with me on the plane. In that sense, I don't know. I think I'm 5 or 6 episodes into The Last Dance. Finally, I know I'm getting caught up on the times, but I'm 5 or 6 episodes into that because I watch it on the plane, which I've been on rarely. So. But Letterkenny has been funny. The problem is I don't know when I'll get back around to watching more. I mean, I gave up myself a couple hours to do something to get lost the other night, and that's something I stumbled upon and did enjoy.
It's perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. If you have like an hour or 2 to just plane ride or get lost, and you just kind of want to sit and veg out, that's a perfect show to do that too.
Okay, looking at
and Ted Lasso.
What's that?
And Ted Lasso, but that's
Ted Lasso.
That's on Apple TV. I think I mentioned it. It's so good. It's
so good. Can I watch that at all if I have no ties to?
if you would need to purchase like an Apple TV subscription. I happen to get Apple TV for free because I have an iPhone. So
my
work
fancy.
my work pays for it, so it just
so
kind of comes with it.
Oh, you got one of them Dare Apples. So fancy.
I got one of them Dare Apples. Yay.
All right. Anything else that we have to worry about? As
I don't think so. You're going to Charlotte tomorrow.
Yep.
I just booked a flight to Jacksonville at the end of the month.
Not soon enough. Oh, okay.
Yep, the end of the month. I'll be leaving, I think, on the 28th or 27th and come back on the 30th, 29th to 28th or 30th maybe is what it was. So I got to go down there for work. So if I'm maybe going to try to get if there's one nearby, I have to go down to St. Augustine. So maybe there's a course I can play nearby if I get a chance. Depends on what the weather looks like.
Oh my gosh, I was also just thinking ahead a few weeks, and I know I just referenced it. It's going to be election night here in the SmashBoxxTV studios. Are we going to have to get all political for a night?
We're going to have election results come in. I'll have a ticker tape at the bottom.
Oh my gosh, yes. We could have, seeing how we usually stay pretty clear of politics. I think
we did not get crazy last time. We announced the winner, I think, and that was about it.
Okay.
That's probably about as much as we're going to get this time.
You think we're going to be I'll just ask this. Do you think there will not be a winner?
Not with all the absentee ballots. I don't think there's going to be an announced official winner for at least probably, I'm going to guess 2 days.
Oh, I do want to give a quick service announcement about that. And I mean this with all seriousness. If you don't have your absentee ballot, just reach out to me. I've got at least a stack of them. I picked one. I'm totally kidding.
I just printed them off myself.
Yeah, I just
didn't matter.
I'm totally kidding. I'm just gonna leave all politics at that. I'm just kidding. I don't know that I have too much more for you. I know planning for next year. There was some conversation this weekend that I heard that I'm excited about for plans for next year. Of course, we got to get through this weekend, and then a few surprises that will come before the end of the year. I think things like international travel obviously are still going to be up for debate and conversation. So I know how, we talked about SULA and PCS.
Ain't no other
and
countries
European
letting us
Open.
in.
What's that?
Ain't no other countries letting us in.
I mean, those are all just so many other questions and stories, and it's crazy to think here we are in mid-October, and those are some of the things that are lurking around the corner is when will we see, and this also brings up the point of Vegas, seeing Vegas registrations opening for the Las Vegas Challenge for next year, and I know they're doing it in a tiered system, and the Disc Golf Pro Tour and opening that and so on and so forth. It's crazy to think that our opening of the season is 4 months from now. 4 months from right now. Yeah.
Darren, you said that the course in St. Augustine sucks. Is that the one? I drove to one the one time I was there that it looked like it played around an old horse farm or a horse track. That one wasn't too bad. Actually shot really well there. It's got
of course you did.
What's the thing that Manitowoc has? A light. The
lighthouse.
Yeah, thank you.
It's got a
I kept
light.
thinking lamp.
It's like in a house.
It's in a house.
I
The
what
light.
is that
God,
called?
I kept thinking lamp.
You'd be great
like
at
a lamp
charades.
house. You and I actually used to be pretty good at that crap. Not anymore. My brain's dead. Anyway, it has a lighthouse on it that I played. That the disc actually falls down and you get it through, which is kind of cool. So I played that one. And it was fun. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get around to it. I'm flying in on a Wednesday afternoon. Going to work hopefully all day all day Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe I'll get to play Thursday afternoon, and then I fly out first thing Friday. So it's going to be a quick trip to St. Augustine. Hopefully avoid the COVIDs. Just kind of dodge them.
Good luck with that.
So.
All right.
We
got stuff to give away. I was about to close it out.
No,
I guess we got stuff to give away.
We have to quickly give away something,
all right.
Terry.
Don't go anywhere. We have free stuff for you.
Terry, go ahead and explain how these people can get access to this free stuff.
All right. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. If you support us at any level at all, whether you give generously every week or you give once a month, whatever the case might be, doesn't matter to us. We appreciate it. That will, in fact, make you eligible for our weekly giveaways. We also have various levels that make you eligible for things like getting a mini put on our wall so you can be part of our mini studio audience. Also, we have an annual disc that is given away if you're supporting us at a particular level. If you up those levels a little bit, you may get an article of clothing once per quarter, thanks to our partner over at Paragon Disc Golf and Miles Parkhill.
And that should have just shipped out like
those are
literally
all
a day or two ago.
various ways that you can support us and get on board. We love that you like, share, and subscribe. If you want to take it, if you want a little more commitment to or from us, with us, patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. You could do it that way if you so choose. And if you don't, guess what? We're idiots and we will do it anyway. We will still be here every week, whether you like it or not. So that's what I can give to you guys.
We have 203 people eligible for our giveaway this week, thanks to the other method you can use on the website, /weekly giveaways. And Terry, what number shall I pick?
Well, I think there's so many numbers that are out there.
It's a lot of numbers.
And I somehow arrive at, let's go with the first number. We had a champion tonight. We have one major of the year.
All right.
The first number drawn.
It's sorted by email address.
All right.
So the very first number is number 125. Let me sort down here. That is going to be...
I don't like that person. I'm just kidding. I love them all.
Brandon Langston. Congratulations, Brandon Langston.
And Brandon has been supporting us for roughly how long, Johnny?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me take a look. Brandon Langston has been supporting us since 2018. 8/9/2018.
Thank you, Brandon. That is very gracious of you to tune in. Well, maybe you don't even listen anymore. Maybe you lost your login to the account and it still keeps charging you every
if so, I'm fine with that. Thank you, Brandon.
No, but seriously, we do very much appreciate it. I will get something shipped out to you probably as soon as I get back from the Pro Tour Championships, because I'm already leaving tomorrow morning. I can't make any promises. I'm going to get something shipped out tomorrow.
Yeah, and you won the disc member box.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
That I might get out a little bit quicker, actually, because I don't have to wrap anything or figure anything out. So,
Write
Brandon,
his name on there.
If we have
I'll send you
your
his
address.
I do have an address.
Brandon Langston.
Look at that.
And the date is 10/13. Brandon, seriously, we appreciate it. And thanks to our partner over at Disc Member, who contributed whatever's in that box. That will go directly to you. Also, I feel I know I'm going to say this. I feel dumb sharing some of this. The Pro Tour finale this weekend, I believe, has a Phase 2 component to it in terms of fans, and I'm only repeating some of this because I know people have asked. So check out DGPT.com. I would hope or assume there's more information out there on it as to what that does and doesn't mean. I know they had a VIP offering. Some people have taken advantage of that. And I apologize. A lot of people have sent me messages, and I don't know the exact answer, and I don't want to give you a wrong answer. But I know there are restrictions, but they're a little looser than some of the previous events because it's a Phase 2 COVID situation with regards to the DGPT this weekend. So please go check out DGPT.com for the information, just to make sure that you have it all. Ronald Harkey's chiming in. Ronald, we know you love to spam us with misinformation. I'm just kidding. It says only 12 passes per card. So it sounds like it's interesting. Sounds like you could buy for very specific cards and then follow them, and there's going to be different cards that go out through different times and iterations, and I guess that is a really clever way to kind of limit but yet keep control as to how many people are on the course and then how many spectators. But go, and he says you have to follow the card you bought passes for.
That's cool.
That makes.
Don't look at other cards if they
No.
if they walk by.
No, if there's a backup, you turn around. And
Everyone's given a face mask with a blindfold, so you just pull it right up over your head.
If they catch you cheering for some other card, you'll be removed from the property. No, we kind of make jokes, but no. So it's good to know there are some specific guidelines and restrictions. So please check out DGPT.
God, you have a hard time spitting that out.
Yeah, I really do. I want to throw in a .tv somewhere in there.
That's SmashBoxxTV.
Oh yeah,
DGPT.com. You might even be able to go to DGPT.tv. I wonder if it brings you to DGN.
Oh no.
Let's find out.
Oh my gosh, this is some on-the-air drama.
DGPT.tv brings you to the Disc Golf Network.
Well, that's
convenient. I thought that happened. I wasn't 100% sure, though, because I think I checked that a year ago.
I'll also follow up. I know Gatekeeper recently talked about having a bunch of bonus footage coming out. I think Ace Run Productions has some footage coming out. The Disc Golf Guy channel is going to have some additional post-production from various weeks.
My own personal YouTube will have nothing.
No, it definitely should not. But look for all those. I think as soon as the season comes to, I'll say the Pro Tour finale this weekend. Once that comes to a close, I think that's going to be a great time. You're going to see a lot of other channels then release a little bit of the backlog or things that got lost in the shuffle or got caught behind, myself included. You're going to see a little backlog. So there's still some great content that will be coming out in the next few weeks as well. All right, we're going to close it out. We want to thank you all for joining us. We look forward to you guys joining us on the Disc Golf Network this weekend as we bring you the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale and championship weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun down there in Charlotte, a great disc golf mecca and place to be. Thank you to Chris Dickerson for joining us earlier in the night. And we'll see you during the day.
And Brittany, we saw her wandering around in the back.
Yeah, Brittany. She was taking pictures or something. Thank you. We love you. This has been After Show number 319. We'll see you in a couple days.
Adios.
Right here on the network when you step inside the Smash Box.